All right, good morning, everyone. It's 8:32. I'll call this meeting to order. Councilman Kirby Metaxas has offered to do the prayer this morning.
God, grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, courage to change the things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Amen.
You, Yonko Kirby. And for the record, we have Councilwoman Jennifer Webster, Councilman Jameson Wilson, Secretary Lisa Liggins, myself, Treasurer Larry Barton, Councilman Jonas Hill, and Councilman Kirby Metaxas present. At the moment, Councilman Marlon Skindor is unexcused. All right, with that, we will go ahead and turn it over to Laura for the years of service.
Good morning and welcome, everyone. It's my pleasure to welcome you to our employee years of service recognition. This is an opportunity before the United Business Committee, our community, friends, families, other fellow coworkers within the Oneida Nation to recognize and honor a remarkable group of individuals. Today we're celebrating employees who have between 45 years of service and down to 25 years of dedicated service. For the employees, your commitment, resilience, and contributions have shaped our nation in countless ways. Thank you for the excellence you bring each and every day to work, and I know that each of you have made a positive contribution, and many of you for many, many years, so thank you. Before we get to the recognition part, just a little bit of logistics. What I will do is I'll go through the names and we'll recognize, as I mentioned, the employee. You're welcome to come up with your supervisor or whoever you have here with you today. We'll go through those. And then at the end, the business committee would like an opportunity to recognize you and get a picture with the group of you for the Gully Weezoks. So the first employee I'd like to recognize for 45 years of service is Debbie Ryder Mahoja. Congratulations.
Do I say something?
Sure.
I'd like to thank everyone for being here to recognize the 45 years of Debbie Ryder Mahuji. She started with our school system as soon as she graduated high school, so it's been a long ride and a fun one. We started in the Norbert Hill Center. And we had an office right across here for a while. We saw a tornado come one day and we called the office, there's a tornado coming. So they sounded the alarm and got us safe in the auditorium. So we started together, and she has through the years earned a criminal justice degree from Mount Scenario College, and she does take the lead in our safety committee and works with OPD and other agencies as far as our drills and equipment for safety. She does all the NACES programs, which is our ISEP audit with the Bureau. So all of the training that we've had on the Native American Student Information Systems, Debbie's been there. We went, and there was a tornado then when we went. We went to training in Minneapolis, and we were saying, oh, we work in a school. That's a tornado warning. We're supposed to do something. And we actually survived that and came home. So we've had trainings together with the Bureau and have continued to do all the programs that we have to do in the Bureau, and then all the regular contracting that we have with the tribe, the time and attendance with the nation, our all of our contracts and our legal forms go through the law office, and Debbie's a contact for that. So she's really kept us on the right score. We've had 100% compliant audits, not just with the Bureau, but with the state, and then our federal agencies for granting. So Debbie is the person that works with me as my executive assistant. I left and came back, and she was still here, so I was happy to see that. So congratulations to Debbie on her 45 years of service.
Thank you. You can head over there. They'll have a certificate and a gift for you. So the recipients will receive a certificate signed by the Oneida Business Committee, and for those with 25 years through 35 years will receive a blanket. Many of you may have had the opportunity to choose. We sent that out this time for an opportunity to select which blanket you would like to receive. And then, for the 40 to 45, they get a special basket also that has been woven by Ray Skinador. The next person I'd like to recognize for 40 years of service is Linda Paulus.
Morning. Quick recap of what Linda's been doing for the past 40 years. She started in 1985 as a bingo worker, moved her way up to a floor worker. In 1987, she transferred to the museum for a tour guide. In 98, she was a retail cashier. Until 1992, she transferred to the United School as a teacher's aide. In 93, she transferred to gaming. She was a slot cashier and quickly moved up to a slot supervisor. Now, where she's been for the past 30 years is a casino shift manager. So for the past 30 years as a shift manager, Linda has played a vital role in the department's success. She has trained numerous employees and inspires hard work and teamwork in her coworkers by leading through example. Linda consistently looks for ways to improve both the department and various processes within the casino. She uses her extensive knowledge and experience to assist customers and always provides excellent customer service. So I just want to thank Linda for 40 years of great service.
The next employee I'd like to recognize with 35 years of service is Michelle Broughton.
First of all, I'd like to thank you to the United Nations for the recognition of our employees and tribal members that have worked a number of years for the United Nations and making the United Nations what it is today. So I just want to say Yonko to you for recognizing all of our dedicated employees who have served the nation. I would like to take this time to express a few words of gratitude and an appreciation in recognition of 35 years of service of Michelle Broughton, who has served the United Nations with pride and dignity. Michelle began her career in October of 1990 as a cashier, moving on to a slot supervisor in 1993 at the Oneida Bingo and Casino. In 1999, Michelle transferred to the Oneida Gaming Commission Surveillance Department, where she became a surveillance supervisor for 19 years. Michelle was elected to the Oneida Gaming Commission in January of 2018. Michelle currently serves as an elected official of the Oneida Nation as the Vice Chairman of the Oneida Gaming Commission. It's tribal member employees like Michelle that has made the United Nations a successful place to live and work. Today, the United Nations employs nearly 2,000 employees and has been an economic force within the Green Bay area. Thanks to the dedication and commitment of employees like Michelle, that has made the nation what it is today. We thank you, Michelle, for your years of service, dedication, and commitment to the United Nations. And we'd like to say Yon Ko to you this morning. And in our language, Yon Ko means a big thank you. And so that's, we wanted to do that today and recognize her. And then in addition to that, Michelle is also the baby sister of Linda Paulus, who was just recognized. So I just wanted to say a few words on behalf of Michelle and say, Yon Ko, Michelle.
Thank you. Next, I would like to recognize an employee for 30 years of service, Kimberly Mahoji.
Good morning, and thank you everyone for recognizing all of our amazing employees. Kim started working for the United Nations in November of 1995 as a secretary for the Department of Public Works. In July of 1996, she transferred to the health center to work as a pharmacy technician. The pharmacy has been blessed with having her as an integral member of our team ever since. Today, we get to celebrate Kim's 30th anniversary of dedication to our patients. In the pharmacy, we are grateful for all of her knowledge and wisdom that she brings to the table from her years of serving the Oneida community. We look forward to having her for another 30 years. Thank you.
Next, I would like to recognize for 30 years of service, Mindy Rass.
Good morning, everybody. Mindy started in the Customer Service Center back in 1995, listed as a computer operator, even before, we went through a different phase of different names. She's been your first level of support, taking phone calls, back in the office in the data center at the main casino when we used to be in a little cold office off the data center. She started in her early 20s, and she's been supporting our nation for 3 decades. When you say that, it's like, wow, she's really been a big part of our department. She's progressed through the years through customer support specialist and then customer support analyst. And through those years, she's gotten her bachelor degree of science. And then in 2022, we brought her over to the gaming. And she's been supporting our gaming systems and going from answering the phone to supporting your point of sale at the casino and the hotel. She's really progressed through the years, and it's so good to be part of that journey with her and have her as my employee. Thank you, Mindy.
Thank you.
The next employee we'd like to recognize with 30 years of service is Marianne Calderon.
Good morning, everybody. First of all, I want to congratulate Marianne on her dedication of her 30 years for the United Nations. All have been within the Department of Public Works. Marianne started at DPW in November of 1995, and through November of 2022, she had served several different positions there under Bruce Danforth, Clyde Skenador, Redmond Danforth, and Susanna Jordan. I have been Marianne's supervisor for the past 3 years, but we have collaborated occasionally within departments during those other years previous. Marianne, your dedication and positive attitude always provide us with a welcoming environment, and you light up the workplace with your uplifting spirit for your coworkers as well as our customers and outside entities that enter our building. Your work performance and willingness go above and beyond help to make our difference in our day-to-day responsibilities. Thank you for your dedication and hard work to our department and keeping us together as a team. Then I also have a few words from Susanna. Susanna says, I had the privilege of working alongside Marianne in groundskeeping, and I can honestly say she was more than just a coworker. She truly cares for her coworkers, whether someone needs help on a job, advice, encouragement, or just someone to listen to. Marianne is always there. She was a strong support network and helped create a workplace that felt like a family. And of course, we can't talk about Marianne without mentioning her laugh. That contagious laugh that could constantly lift the mood and remind us all not to take everything too seriously. It brought joy into the workday. Marianne is not only a dedicated employee, but such a wonderful person, kind, dependable, and genuinely thoughtful. She made a difference not just through her work, but through the way she treats people. Marianne, thank you for the 30 years of service, your loyalty, hard work, and your care for others. Congratulations on this incredible milestone.
I just want to say thank you as well. I haven't known you as long as Bird, but again, your laugh is contagious and we can't do it without you. Every day is a bright, shining rainbow when we walk into utilities. So I thank you very much.
The next employee we'd like to recognize with 30 years of service is Stephanie Eberhardy.
Good morning, everyone. When I first started jotting things down about Stephanie, I thought I would talk about how skilled she is with procedures, and she's so smart, and she's our resident specialist with asthma and allergy because she's completed a fellowship. And then I thought, after knowing her for 3 years, I gotta let you know about her heart. This isn't just a number. This is 3 decades of showing up, speaking up, and standing up for patients. For 30 years, Stephanie has been a steady presence for her patients, a provider who listens closely, explains thoroughly, and never settles for good enough when it comes to care. Patients walk in with worries and questions and leave feeling informed, respected, and genuinely cared for. And that kind of trust is built over time, one patient at a time. If you ever worked with her, you know she doesn't just practice healthcare, she advocates for it. She's a great advocate for it. She is passionate, vocal, and fearless when it comes to doing what is right. She asks the hard questions. She challenges processes, me, that do not serve patients well, and that's welcomed. She speaks up for safety, for quality, and for equity in care. For years, she has served on our QA committee, and healthcare needs a voice like hers. Voices that remind us why we do this in the first place. She's also an incredible teacher. I have to let you know about her teaching. Students and new team members quickly learned that if Stephanie's explaining something, you're about to get the full master class. She gives the most thorough, thoughtful explanations. It's not just the what, it's the why. She is shaping the next generation of healthcare providers, and her commitment to education ensures her impact will be far beyond her own practice. And of course, we cannot talk about Stephanie without mentioning the afternoon Diet Coke. Sorry, I had to mention it. I think it's there to fuel her long afternoons, to continue advocacy, more teaching, and more exceptional care. Over 30 years, healthcare has changed in countless ways. Stephanie can attest to this as she was here working at the original healthcare center with 2 providers, correct? And paper charting.
And a half. 2.5 providers.
Oh, 2.5, okay. 1995.
Correct.
But what has not changed is, since then, systems have evolved, technology has advanced, and the pace has only gotten faster, right? But since then, she has not changed. She has an unwavering commitment to her patients and her community. Through every shift and challenge, she has remained a constant source of integrity, passion, and high standards. We're talking 30 years of early mornings, 30 years of complex cases, 30 years of lifting others up, patients, coworkers, and students alike. And that kind of dedication is rare. That kind of passion is powerful, and that kind of legacy truly makes a difference. Stephanie, thank you for your voice, your heart, your wisdom, and your tireless commitment to excellent care at United Community Health Center. Healthcare is better because of you. This community is healthier because of you, and all of us are grateful to work alongside you. Congratulations on 30 amazing years. And
Before I go into the 25-year recognition, I want to take this moment to acknowledge and name the people that were unable to come today that also had years of service, or maybe they didn't want to have this kind of recognition. It's not for everyone, but I do want to read their name for record. And then after I go through these, let's give them a large round of applause. So for 40 years, we have Lois Domenchik, 40 years, Renee Hill, 30 years, Shane Thomas, Troy Parr, Luz Redhill, James Sommerfelt, Lisa Duff, Lisa Parks, Daniel Dockstader, Dan Moran, Stephanie Funmaker, Michelle Poole, Michael Dockstader, Eva Dockstader, and Kevin Rentmeester. For 25 years, we have Jason Stegling, Rebecca Escalante, Daryl Stevens, Cynthia Morin, Sheila Baumgart, and Peggy Stevens. Thank you to them for their years of service. Now we'll move on to recognizing the employees with 25 years of service who are able to join us today. First, I have Robert Pominant.
Good morning, everybody. Today, we honor Rob Paminette for his remarkable dedication and service. Rob's journey with us spans more than 2 decades and reflects adaptability, compassion, and a deep commitment to serving our community. Rob began his career on November 12th of 2000 in the slots department as a fun club team member. Even though early years, he demonstrated a strong work ethic, exceptional customer service, and the ability to connect with people, qualities that would define his career. On February 16th of 2003, Rob transitioned into player development as a concierge, where he continued to build meaningful relationships and provide outstanding support to guests. In October of 2007, Rob embraced a major career shift, bringing his talents to the health center as a patient's account representative. From the very beginning, he brought not just skills, but also his heart, supporting patients, families, and teammates with empathy and professionalism. Then on November 29th of 2009, Rob moved to the health center, from the health center to behavioral health, continuing his role as a PAR. For over 15 years in this department, he has been a trusted resource, a steady presence, and someone who consistently goes above and beyond for both patients and staff. Across every role and every transition, Rob has demonstrated resilience, loyalty, and a powerful commitment to serving the Oneida community. His contributions strengthen our mission every single day, and his dedication to his work and his team is deeply appreciated. Rob, thank you for many years of service, for the kindness you show others, and for the pride you take in your work. We are honored to celebrate you today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, I would like to recognize Emily Detry.
Always nervous. There's a lot to say about Emily that words honestly cannot express. She has reached a huge milestone by dedicating 25 hard years here at Oneida Casino. Long ago, on November 19th, 2000, she started in the Fun Club, which then merged into what's now the Players Club, never leaving her team. Over the years of hard work, dedication, and creating many lasting impressions with customers and her coworkers, Emily has shown what it takes to be a leader. She took on the responsibilities of becoming a lead, even training myself 9 years ago. And look where I am today. I couldn't have asked for a better individual, employee, and friend on my team. I feel honored that I get to be a part of your journey and success here at Oneida Casino. Congratulations, Emily, on your 25 years and more to come.
Thanks, Brett.
You're welcome.
Next, I would like to recognize Connie Danforth for her 25 years of service.
Saguli Swagwe, Galundes, Niyo Guts. Today we have the privilege of honoring someone who has dedicated an incredible 25 years of continuous service to Oneida Nation and many years to Oneida Comprehensive Health Division. I think it has been more than 25 years though. Connie Danforth's journey with Oneida Nation began on October 8th, 2000, when she started her career in retail as a retail associate. Her strong work ethic and dedication quickly led to her promotion to Senior Retail Associate on May 4th, 2003. In May of 2007, she took a bold step in her professional growth by transferring to the Student Intern Program in Physical Therapy, demonstrating an early commitment to helping others through healthcare. Later that year, in August of 2007, she returned to retail as a Senior Retail Associate continuing to build her experience and serve the community with dedication. Connie's passion for healthcare ultimately brought her to the United Community Health Center on November 16th, 2008. So we worked together, for that long, where she transferred into the role of physical therapist assistant. This transition marked the beginning of a deeply impactful chapter in her career. Throughout her years with United Comprehensive Health Division, Connie's service has been defined by unwavering commitment, professionalism, and compassion. Over the years, she's touched countless lives, helping patients regain strength, mobility, function, and confidence. And for some people, I would say, getting their life back from, devastating and catastrophic injuries and illnesses. Her skills and caring approach have made a profound difference in the health and well-being of our community. Connie, your dedication is an inspiration to all of us. Your career reflects growth, resilience, and a genuine heart for service. You have not only contributed to the success of our programs, but have also embodied the values of United Comprehensive Health Division: responsive leadership, safety, communication, culturally sensitive, respect, and trust as a foundation that make our health division strong. On behalf of the United Comprehensive Health Team, thank you for your 25 years of outstanding service, your loyalty, and your lasting impact on the Oneida Nation. I'd also like to say that, Connie is a testament to the investment of the Oneida Nation. She attended the Oneida school systems, she utilized Oneida higher education, and she has practice in our community. So I look at it as a for us, by us approach, and she's been profound with many people younger than her, helping with mentorship and internships. And I'd like to thank her family for sharing us the time, letting her come with us. But please join me in celebrating Connie Danforth.
Next, I would like to recognize Corey Rogers for 25 years of service.
Good morning, Sigolisokwake. Corey Rogers began with the security department on November 5th of 2000. Over the course of 25 years of dedicated service, he has consistently demonstrated professionalism, reliability, and commitment. His contributions have been a significant asset to the internal security team, strengthening operations and supporting the mission of the security department. His peers say he's upbeat, helpful. Were you worried, Corey, when I said peers? Helpful, positive. He gets along well with his coworkers. They also have developed a bond over food and enjoy supper clubs and trivia. And me and Corey even sat at the same restaurant together, but not together, but the same restaurant. So it was funny, we didn't realize that till we had left, that we were both at the same restaurant together. He is a leader. He's someone that we can give a task to and we know what's going to get done, and he'll take the time to put forth his effort. And he's also reliable to respond to incidents, medical incidents, any type of incidents when he's working. And so good job. So congratulations, Corey. We appreciate you. And he's also raised his family. So that's another personal note. His son went to the same middle school as one of my kids. They also played against each other. So it's also a more personal connection when we see each other. So I appreciate that. And also, again, congratulations on your 25 years.
The last employee that we have present today to recognize for 25 years of service is Faye Lemens.
So first and last, Here we go. I'd like to introduce to you all Faye Lemens. She's our special ed coordinator. And while this is a 25-year HRD representation recognition, She actually has been with the school system for 34 years. She's got a bachelor's degree, well, it's school, bachelor's degree in elementary and special ed, and she has a master's degree from UW-Milwaukee in administrative leadership. So you go to school and you learn how to be a teacher, you learn how to be a principal, but then the bureau system is a whole nother system. So we follow the BIE guidelines, the BIE special ed requirements. So part of the NACES program, the Student Information System, so students that are certified with disabilities have individual educational plans, and they're also in our NACES system. So Faye has learned what it takes as far as the state requirements, but we have to follow the bureau requirements and then all the data that has to go into our NACES system to make us a compliant school system. So she has experience as a teacher, she's been a coordinator, and also has spent a year as a principal. And like some of us who left and came back, Faye left and came back. So she's been back for 25 years, and altogether she's been here for 34 years. Worked with many students, and then with special ed, you have IEP meetings, so knows many families and many community members. So I'd like to congratulate you for your 34 years of service. Thank you.
I would just like to thank everyone for attending and for the supervisors that took the time to let all of us know a little bit about their employees. I think everybody presented something, so I feel like we all know what these employees brought to the organization over these last 25 to 45 years, so I really appreciate that. So on behalf of Oneida Huron Resources, thank you all for your work, and I hope to continue, that we all can continue to have you as an employee at the Oneida Nation. Yonko.
All right, Yonko to all the employees for their continued service to the Oneida Nation, our employees, and to patients in the different areas. If we'd like to have Garth organize the picture for the employees, so if you're honored today, please step up towards the painting. All right, again, thank you to all the recipients for the Years of Service Awards. We were going to get on with our agenda for this morning. Looking at the adoption of the agenda, Secretary Liggins.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There are 7 add-on requests for today's agenda. Starting with the resolution section of the agenda, we have 2 resolutions that have been submitted by the CFO for consideration. The first is, would be EFG, which is adopt resolution entitled authorizing use of carryover funds for the 2033 land acquisition. Resolution H would be adopt resolution entitled authorizing use of carryover funds for the financial sovereignty fund. Under travel requests, item C, approve a travel request, Secretary Lisa Liggins, the 2026 State of the Tribes Address and Events, February 9th to the 11th. That's 3 under new business. Item J would be the memorandum regarding withholding pay for Councilman Marlon Skinador. Under the GTC section of the agenda, items B and C. Item B is to cancel the tentatively scheduled March 9th meeting. And item C would be to schedule a special GTC meeting to address the FY27 budget. And then lastly, an add-on request to accept the chief counsel report. That would be executive session reports, item 3. I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda with the add-ons.
Motion by Lisa, second by Larry. Lisa?
There is one more add-on that was just sent yesterday, and it's under resolutions as well, sorry. That resolution is endorsement of Chairman Dahazidazi Hill's candidacy for Vice Chairman of Indian Gaming Association. Be item I.
Lisa makes the motion. Is there a second? Second by Larry. Any further discussion on the agenda? Seeing none, we'll vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. All right, we have an adopted agenda. We are scheduled to do operational reports first, so we will jump to those. Starts on page 316.
No, just acknowledging the area for their effort. We had positive feedback at the recent CEO and Nation Services community meeting, January 8th, so we did get unsolicited positive feedback from the community and attendees as to the effort at Big Bear Media. So just wanted to mention that. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, if there's no other questions from the committee, we'll go to Committee Member Nancy Barton. You have 5 minutes. Thank you.
I just wanted to comment about this department using the Oneida Emergency Food Pantry refrigerated truck to transport mail from, I saw the truck at the post office, and then it came through a double line of elders lined up for the elder food box. And then on a separate occasion, I saw an employee of that department come and take the truck from the food pantry, the refrigerated truck. So I'm concerned about that. I was told I couldn't address that issue until now, today. And so I guess I'm gonna refer to the CFO and see if there was a budget line item for equipment for them to buy a truck of their own. When I go by Big Bear Media, there is a number of vans there. My concern is the use and abuse of that vehicle. And also, you know, what if it breaks down? Because it is a refrigerated truck, what will the pantry do in order to pick up their elder food boxes from, I believe, Feeding America and Appleton, and also the food that comes from the surrounding vendors? So I guess I'm looking for, you know, an answer and looking for an alternative to using the pantry's truck. You know, I made a statement in the past that people are real territorial. This is mine and that's yours, and this belongs to us. And it does, but it's all the nation. But I'm protective of the equipment and also the warehouse of the pantry. So I'm looking for them to find an alternative to transport the mail. I don't believe that there's that much mail that they need that big half a semi, refrigerated semi, to transport mail from either Big Bear to wherever, or from the post office to wherever. So that it was one of my concerns when I went through this report, that Big Bear Media discontinue using the refrigerated truck at the Oneida Emergency Food Pantry. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Nancy. I think I'll go to Mark and then Michelle.
Just a quick note that regarding any complaints, concerns, those don't need to wait. Those can be filed directly to my office. Thank you for bringing this up. As referenced, Michelle is next. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mark. Michelle?
Good morning. Yes, so we do work with the emergency food pantry to use their truck once a month for a couple of hours, because it would take multiple vehicles. We've done that in the past. It would take multiple vehicles to transport the gully wee socks, which is about 160 of these really large tubs, and they're all roughly about 40 pounds each. So it takes up a lot of space, and what we try to do in return for them is we try to at least fill up the truck with gas when we do use it, the one time a month that we do use it. I personally have driven that truck to make sure that the gully wee socks goes out on time, and I don't feel like we are using or abusing the truck in any means. And the other thing too is that, you know, like even next month, we're going to try to host a breakfast to thank them and the volunteers for what they do to help us out. Our alternative, what we've done in the past is gaming will also help us. So if the truck isn't available, we'll also talk to the gaming warehouse, because they're not using the trucks all the time. So it's just kind of like Nancy had said, you know, this asset belongs to the tribe, and we're very respectful and very thankful that they help us with getting the gully wee socks to the post office. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Michelle. Any other questions or comments on the Big Bear Media first quarter report? Jenny?
Just motion to approve.
Motion by Jenny, seconded by Jonas. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. All right, moving on to item 2, accept the Comprehensive Health Division fiscal year 26 first quarter report.
Motion to accept.
Motion by Lisa, seconded by Jameson. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Jonas?
I'd just like to give them a compliment on their drive-through vaccinations. I feel like those flu shots went very well this year, and it was pretty smooth. And the nurses were, or I think actually Debbie gave my son his shot, and everything went really well. So just a shout out to them. Thank you.
All right, thank you for the comments. Moving on to item 3, accept the Comprehensive Housing Division fiscal year 26 first quarter report.
Motion to accept.
Motion by Lisa, seconded by Jenny. Jameson? Any questions from the committee? Seeing none, we'll go to community member Nancy Barton. You have 5 minutes.
I guess I'm looking for some information to come back regarding the building in Three Sisters, what we call the Isabel building. I named it after her. It's sitting there empty. How unfortunate in the middle of winter that our kids don't have that building to go into. I'm not sure how it was funded, if it was a grant or what it was, but it's closed. And are you going to let that sit there and stay closed until, we tear it down, which is, common around here? So I'm going to ask the business committee to ask that department to bring back a report about what the plan is for that building. The other thing that I want to talk about is the fourplexes over on Metoxin Lane. The statement that came from the director, Lisa Rauschenbach, on social media was that there is a design flaw. And I'm real concerned about that. I'm not sure who built them. And there's 4 more going up. And, the statement is that the director got in her car and went over there 3 times and the heat was running. That's not the issue. The issue is that the light bill, the electric bill is $500 per month for low-income people. And so I'm concerned about all of that. I'd like to ask the business committee to look into that issue. I don't know if you want to bring it back here in a work session, but it's very concerning when you've got one set of apartments where the heat isn't running good, and then you got 4 more being built, and then you've got apartments coming up in Three Sisters. I'm not sure who the contractors are. I'm concerned. We have a serious issue that you guys need to talk about and deal with. So I'm going to ask the business committee to look into the Isabel building. I'm not sure what it's called. What is it called? Has a name? Oh yeah, Community Outreach Building. And then also these fourplexes. The other issue that I want to talk about is the cemetery had a lot of problems, and we outsourced the maintenance of the cemetery because we couldn't get the results that we were looking for. That department didn't want to go over there and cut the grass in a timely manner and take care of it. So the land department outsourced it. We hire whoever we hire, we pay them, they come in and do the job. Cemetery has never looked better. There's never been a single problem with anything over there. And so what I'm getting at is I'm concerned about the maintenance for housing. You can go through Three Sisters on any given day, and there's apartments that remain empty, not for days and weeks, months, and now I'm going to talk about years. There's a unit on Turtle Lane, a house, a home for low-income people. I'm pretty sure it's a 3-bedroom that has sat empty for, I monitored, over 15 months. And, it comes back with this statement, oh, the pigs live there and they ruined it, and nobody takes care of anything. And that's true. to a certain extent. But I think that the maintenance issues are done in an untimely manner and not in it's not good. If you're a landlord or a real estate owner or a person who owns property and people move out, you get your guys in there, you get that place cleaned up, you get it painted, and you get it rented out, because that's money. And so, you know, I'm putting myself out there. I think at one time I came here and I asked that not only housing, but other entities be looked at to outsource. Because if we're paying people and they have a budget and you can't get the work done, we need to look at that. Then what else do we have? And it was met with opposition. The plan was never looked into because, of course, we're always worried about our tribal members and their jobs. But if it's not working, then we need to look at an alternative. And is it time to outsource? And is it time to bring it all in and find out what the problems are? There's a big warehouse sitting on Seminary Road with trucks and men and gas and equipment, and the things aren't getting fixed. So those are my comments about housing. I'm also concerned about the housing list. Brandon Yellowbird, who was, you know, up here before, talked about every time he travels somewhere, every tribe is the housing list, the housing list, the housing list. And so I'm interested in, when the housing department comes with their quarterly report, that they give us how many people are waiting for a house, how many low-income people, how many homeowners, how many other people. Are there 400? Are there 800? We don't know that. So those are my comments for today.
All right, Nancy, thank you for your questions and comments. Mark?
I can provide a partial response. We also have Greg here from Housing who can provide additional response regarding the community outreach building in Three Sisters. Of course, Isabel retired. We have now, or Housing has now hired a new individual to staff that building. So that individual was recently hired and will be providing services out of that building in a relatively quick time frame. But I'll defer to Greg for any additional responses.
Yeah, I'm not sure which one to comment on first. We can run it down if you prefer. The one that come to mind is the first one that I heard regarding the individual with the loss of heat this weekend. There was no loss of heat. The heat was there. Thermostat setting was wrong. Come to find out that there's 2 space heaters in the garage, which are electric, and they're providing shelter for an individual in the garage. 2 space heaters consume a lot of electricity. Also come to find out that the true cost was $350, not $500. So that's one issue.
Mr. Chairman, I would request that this response be more narrowly tailored and more general to avoid identifying individuals or individual activities. Thank you.
Okay. Well, that question was specific to one, so I'm referring to that specific one. Mark had addressed the issue with the place in Three Sisters. That place has been used for things such as tenant roundtable discussions, which we've had 13, with an average of 12 tenants attending those roundtable discussions, which is to go over issues that they have. So roughly 150 people have attended those meetings, and it's invite to the tenants. So there's other uses for that building. Again, I'm not sure which ones to address. The cemetery wasn't under the jurisdiction of the housing, it was DPW. If you can refresh on the other question that you had.
The maintenance issues, I guess the turnaround from vacancies and stuff.
I'm not sure where Turtle lane is.
Up by Tip Road, there's a housing project called Turtle Bear and Wolf, I believe.
Oh, Wolf Drive.
Yeah, there's sweat lodge back there, there's houses
Yep.
back there that's been empty since last fall.
Okay,
I approximately about 15 or 18 months it's been sitting there empty.
all right, we're currently finishing up on one on Wolf Drive right now as we speak. I'm not sure if that's the one. There may be some that are perhaps in litigation. That happens at times. The turnaround time on so here's my ask, is for people to understand that we're not remodeling like we were, we're not repairing like we were, we're reinvesting in these properties. Some of these properties have served a dozen families for the last 75 years. And it's come to our attention that it's time to reinvest in these properties, which means we go in, completely gut them, rewire them to compliance, replumb them because the cast iron is shot, re-insulate them, put new floors in, all new doors, windows, everything. So it's not a turnaround that you can do as a landlord, it's a reinvestment you do as a owner. And we all hear the nightmare stories of how the landlords in Green Bay are charging thousands of dollars a month and not even fixing things such as a stove. So again, I'm not trying to defend. I'll go back to 2018 when the 100 homes from the land office came over to CHD, but only one staff. So that's a lot of homes to try to take under your belt and budget for and try to maintain with only one unloading staff member. I don't want to turn it into a debate, but I think this is a conversation that needs to be had. All of the facts need to be brought to the table, and we can have a conversation about it. But the accusations that we continue to defend on Facebook are not without facts, or they are without facts. They're just a lot of times hearsay. So if we could set up a meeting, community meeting, we can go over that stuff. And not to defend it, to explain it. So.
All right, thank you, Greg. Mark?
Just a couple more comments. Number one, the use of outsourcing. Comprehensive housing does outsource. Of course, there's a economic benefit to taking on those duties within the house and self-performing those duties. We've had mixed results with outsourcing. In some cases, the vendor performs very well. In other cases, the vendor doesn't perform so well, and it turns into a much longer process and turns out to be a greater headache than if we would have self-performed those duties. But bottom line is we do outsource for some components of maintenance and rehab. And that leads to just an update for the community. There have been questions regarding the units that were recently built at Water Circle Place earlier this month. The keys for those units were handed over to Comprehensive Housing Division, and so those units will be rented out in short time to our community members. Of course, that's affordable housing. It's a little bit different model than our low-income housing, but those are beautiful units. It's been quite a path to get those units up and running because we did have vendor problems and concerns regarding those units. So outsourcing isn't always the answer, and probably ideally we're doing a mixture of both outsourcing and self-performing, and that's how CHD is functioning now. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mark. Go to community member Kathy Metoxen. You got 5 minutes.
Thank you. Is it on? Can you hear me? I wanted to raise a few issues about maintenance. There's a lot of maintenance in empty homes and such, and that's all, important. But there's homes where people are living in them, and they've been complaining. I've talked to several people, and they talk about how they've complained about things that were wrong in their places for years. And they're like, today I can sit in their kitchen and they can say, it's still not done 3 years later and nobody came over here yet. And there's several different. So maintenance is a big issue. Talking about it is another big issue. And you can find all the excuses you want. You go into Green Bay and those kind of situations are run by slumlords. And we're not Chicago or we're not Milwaukee, and I know there's been claims of us not having drug problems and alcohol problems and send your money to Milwaukee and Chicago over the years. And that's not us, but it's time to get serious, I guess. Maintenance is maintenance and it's not up to par. And the list, I'm on a list. I've been on a list. It's 5 or 6 years I've been on a list for a place to live. And I have health issues, and it's nobody's business, but to be perfectly honest, I know where our elders are, what our elders had to deal with. I know from personal experience, and I'm in and out of the hospital, and there's a few times where it was a life and death situation. And when you're on a list for 5 or 6 years, it's like, what the fuck am I on this list for? Excuse my language.
No, I'm just going to cut you off. I'm
Language.
just have to cut you off there.
Well,
That's
you
totally
obviously don't
inappropriate.
understand, do you?
Mark?
So we do acknowledge that housing is a top priority for our community. CHD does take their roles and responsibilities seriously in performing those duties. As mentioned, we are opening the affordable our multifamily housing project. Those units are available to our community at this time. There's also $6 more million in the pipeline to provide additional housing to the community. Specific to work orders, yes, there is a current concern regarding addressing work orders. It wasn't too long ago that CHD was completely caught up with all of their work orders, but with re-implementing the annual inspections that were suspended during COVID, with re-implementing those annual inspections, there has been a discovery of a lot of issues within a lot of the housing units, and that has created a backlog. Again, Comprehensive Housing Division does take their roles and responsibilities very seriously. You can hear the concern and passion within Greg's voice when he speaks, and so they are doing their best to address the work order issue, the maintenance and rehab issue, and really attempting to catch up on the backlog of these work orders. But admittedly, there is a backlog there, but housing is working to address those. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Kirby?
Yeah, I guess I was looking for in the report, and I did hear the question come up. How many people on the waiting list currently?
St. Norbert College. We don't have all of those statistics back yet. So some of the confusion is when you say community, what do you mean by that versus somebody else interpreting the Oneida community or membership? So we've got 17,000 plus members. If they own a home in Oklahoma, are they going to return a survey looking for housing? We don't know. What I struggle with is the constant question of what about these vacancies? Now, we turned around 8 homes in this last quarter, which were basically reinvestment homes. Gutting them out, re-insulating, rewiring as needed, all new plumbing, windows, doors, everything. That is required. These homes are aged. They're extremely, they've served their purpose. It's time to reinvest in them. So we have currently, I believe, 47 vacants. So we could fill those tomorrow. That's what was done in the past under different leaderships and different times, different eras. Just get them in there. So if we fill those 47 homes and we're at 100% capacity, but the waiting list is several hundred, what are we as housing how are we going to address that? That's a nation issue. That's an Oneida tribal issue. We do everything we can to provide as quick turnaround and addressing the issues that are in front of us. But the reality is, if there's hundreds of homes needed, we don't have them. It's plain and simple. We have 47 vacant homes. Some of those will be turned around in the next few days, maybe the next month. But then there's going to be people buying homes, people moving, people passing, so we're going to end up with more vacants. It never ends. The vacancy never ends. Okay. But if the need is hundreds, how can CHD solve that?
Right. I guess my question was the HUD home program, because I'm feeling that the majority of our constituents that are looking for housing are low-income tribal members who are on this waiting list, and I'm guessing it's the HUD low-income waiting list. I just want to know how many people on that list. Is it 75? Is it 300? Is it 6? Just the estimate.
Mark?
I think it would be ideal if we brought back a report at a future date. Of course, housing is a national issue. It's not an Oneida issue simply. And we're well aware of the rapid increase in rental rates all around us. I think it's noteworthy to state that within our comprehensive housing division, there has not been increase in rental rates across the board for our membership, and they are continuing to keep those rental rates very low based on comparison to the market surrounding us. It's also noteworthy, and this is a huge topic. I certainly don't want to take up an extended amount of time during this meeting on this topic, but Comprehensive Housing Division has really switched their approach to addressing not only the concerns of the Comprehensive Housing Division, but the concerns of the community. There have been complaints about these long-standing empty vacant units. And those, as was mentioned, those were units that were had major damage to them and would take up an extended amount of time, resources, and energy to get them open for rental or use again. So Comp Housing was focusing on those quick turnaround units and allowing those units that needed a lot of investment to sit longer. Because of the concerns and complaints of the community, they've now switched to addressing those units that do take more time, more energy, more hours, and that's taking away from these other vacant units. There will, as Greg mentioned, there will always be vacant units. We'll always have people moving in and out. The desire is to hit a 95% occupancy rate, and we've hovered just below that. So I think there's, certainly, again, housing is a priority for the nation, and really, if there's one vacant unit, there's probably concerns within the community, but there will always be vacant units because people are always moving out of the units, and those units will, in most cases, likely need attention from our maintenance and rehab before those units can be made available to other community members. Thank you. But just to, what I started with, we can bring back a report on the waiting lists.
Thank you, Mark. Kirby?
Yeah, and that was my response, Mark. Greg, Mark, thanks for your responses, but the only question I wanted was, how many people do we have on the HUD waiting list? Is it 75? Is it 300? And I don't know if this is online. I'm sure they have that number. I don't know what the number is, but I'm just looking for that number.
We'll bring that back.
All right, thank you, Kirby. Nancy already spoke
I'd like
once
to
on this
request
topic.
respectfully to have another 30 seconds if I could, please.
Does a committee member wish to entertain the request?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Lisa, seconded by Jonas. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
You know,
Opposed,
I take,
abstentions,
oh,
motion
I'm sorry.
carries. Go ahead,
I'm
you got
sorry
30
for
seconds.
interrupting. I'm trying to go fast. When I leave here, I was, my kids are like, why are you talking so fast? Okay, I take issue with the statement, we don't want to waste anybody's time up here with these quarterly reports. These are important. These are quarterly reports where information gets brought back. I have an issue with the director not being here. There are many times where I ask for information and a person can push a button and give you a number. One of them was utilities, when I asked how many people use their gift card down there to pay their bills. You should have that number. You should be here. This is important. The other thing I want to talk about is in these reports and in this packet, if you look at page 331, you can barely read the information that's been submitted. And this is not the first time. The previous business committee meeting, there were reports that were submitted that you couldn't read because of, I don't want to call it the font, I don't know what you want to call it, the computer writing on here. These packets are put together by, I don't know who, they should be inspected, and they should be clear, because isn't this an official document that gets stored somewhere for later in case somebody needs information? So I want to bring, that issue, and we'll be talking about DTS in a minute here, but how is that okay? This is not okay. I got this packet early because I wanted to be versed on what was going on the reports, and I can't read half of it. So that is my issue.
All right. Again, I think as stated in the report, there were 385 work orders completed the last quarter, 98 annual inspections last quarter, and the 47 vacancies with 8 turned over. And as Mark mentioned, they're shooting for the 95% occupancy. They're currently at 90. I know I remember a couple of reports, they were like 93, 94%. They were, pretty close to that goal. But I think it's just important that we continue to obviously track and move forward. I think everyone's heard the discussion here today about the importance of getting these homes turned over, but then also the importance of rehabbing these homes for continued use, I think is important as well. And making sure that they're safe and habitable and up to code, as some of the, like I said, some of these homes have been in place for 50, 60, 70 years, and being able to still have that stock in place and being able to have the workforce, I guess, to do that work and turn them over and make sure that they are up to snuff when it comes to what the community's expectations for a safe and habitable home is. So I get just to thank the staff for the work that's been done thus far. I think as you've heard today, the the goal is always to do better, and I look forward to seeing the future work reported on. Sid?
Thank you. Sid White, here, I'm going to be in a land commission role. I've been the chair. I've been on the land commission for 5.5 years plus. One of the things that came up from the General Tribal Council is looking at prioritizing housing within the land acquisition plan. If we look at like the 2033 plan, it does prioritize buying our reservation back. We did submit within the annual report an update on that request, and like one of our concerns at the time is that if we start prioritizing purchasing houses, is what is the capacity of housing to, you know, update those homes and bring them up to like what their specifications is. One of the things that we focused on is collaborating with housing, looking at any type of potential property, you know, sending in housing and other areas to get a better understanding of the condition of the property. My understanding is that in the past, properties were just purchased, you know, and it could be a home is a dumpster fire, and it's like that would get transferred around and kind of end up on Greg's plate. So I think like if we're looking at, you know, like land acquisition plan and funding, you know, land acquisition, there might be some discussion in the future about also having a budget to support rehabbing those homes and bringing them up to standard and getting them into inventory a little bit quicker. I know that was like, you know, one of our concerns, and if you look at the acquisition budget, there can be like a lot of meat on the bones, per se, that's like left over. Obviously, we do try and focus on, you know, purchasing, you know, larger tracts of land, but if this is something, you know, that we prioritize moving forward is looking at houses, it would be looking at, you know, providing like what that support is, because otherwise we'll end up in the same scenario. Like certainly like the Land Commission and collaborating with like environmental land and agriculture, we can go out and purchase, you know, 5, 10, you know, 15 homes. But if we're still struggling, you know, with like rehabbing the existing homes, then we're kind of compounding that problem and that issue. So I really think that should be something taken in account, you know, moving forward. And certainly with, you know, with the budgeting plan for, you know, land acquisition, is there, you know, the possibility to allocate funds, you know, either to, you know, support Greg or, you know, to, you know, have them vouch for like some of the vendors that can, you know, rehab these homes and bring them up to code. And I think that would like speed up, you know, some of these processes. Right now, I think our strategy is that we, you know, purchase properties, like larger properties that do happen to have a home. You know, some of them, as Greg can, you know, attest to, are very, you know, poor condition and meet that threshold for, you know, demolition. And going in, I think that's like one of the things that we have is like our eyes are wide open on the condition of these properties. And that's just kind of going through and doing like a cursory look to see, you know, what that number is. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Sid. Mark, and then Greg.
Just a very quick response. There was the motion at the GTC meeting for Land Commission to focus on housing for tribal membership. That intent was to focus on move-in ready housing for residential sales. So that would not move into our rental catalog. And again, it's move-in ready. So really targeting houses that require minimal maintenance or rehab and allowing CHD specifically residential sales to quickly turn around those units and sell those to tribal membership. So again, another opportunity to provide more housing to tribal membership. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg.
Just to kind of go off of what Sid was saying, the Land Commission has been very supportive in our efforts of communicating with them and identifying the issues. And they've been supportive in going out and looking at what we're considering ready to sell homes, which are never ready to sell in certain people's eyes, whether it's just landscaping needs or simple touch-up paint, that kind of stuff. But since that collaborative effort, we've been able to, we've got one that's going up for sale in March, and we've got 4 that are in the hopper ready to basically ready to sell, about 80, 90% ready to sell. And that's through the collaborative efforts of CHD and the Land Commission, pulling those properties together. But at the same time, as Sid mentioned, we've got homes that are purchased for the land, and the homes are in disarray. So those are in what's considered the land back process. Is it really a good thought to move forward with these properties? That's going to end up a discussion by those in power to have that discussion to decide whether or not those properties should be renovated, or maybe a different thought process going into that large tract of land that was purchased along with these properties. So I think it's coming along. It's a good effort by both the land office and CHD, but it needs to broaden. I think it needs to broaden with others to be part of them conversations. Thank you.
Jameson?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just wanted to clarify the GTC motion that was adopted at the July 1st, 2024 meeting. Motion passed to direct the Land Commission to bring back a revised 2033 land acquisition plan that prioritizes residential housing and to bring to the General Tribal Council at the semi-annual meeting in 2025. So it didn't include ready to sell, ready to occupy homes. It was just to prioritize residential housing as part of the 2033 land acquisition plan. Thank you.
Sid?
I will say
Motion by Lisa.
Sorry.
I'll motion for 2 minutes, please.
Okay. I don't know if that's the threshold, so.
Seconded by Jenny. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. 2 minutes.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak again. I will say that we do have, I want to say like a pilot and a collaboration with Comprehensive Housing. We did earmark 5 homes that were falling into that ready to move in category. There was like some discussion on, what that number should be. And I think what we were presented with was the 5. So that, I think that's going well. We do get like some properties that do come forward, and it is much more helpful within the Land Commission process. And hopefully I would think in the market, and that when, Greg and his staff already look at these homes and it comes on our agenda the first time, it says, okay, they're okay with buying this. This is how much it would cost to repair, kind of give us that minimal amount. Then we can, look at where that falls in a priority with our zones as far as purchases. And most of the time we say, okay, yes, let's go ahead and, make that offer up to whatever X dollar amount. So I do appreciate, the efforts for housing and bringing that idea forward. Certainly that's something that I think we can, reassess in one of our meetings. Is that number 5, is that still sufficient, or is it something that, that we bump up? And as far as like the property types, I'm not sure like what the needs assessment is. We do rely on housing as far as like the content experts to bring those forward. So we do have quite a few properties that should be coming through. I think we met that 5 number, getting pretty close to finalizing that. Thank you.
Thank you. Lisa?
Thank you, Sid, and thank you everyone for the discussion today. I appreciate hearing the comments. Nancy, thank you for the feedback on the packet. I'm sure the general manager can take that in consideration as he submits those reports to make sure that they're more legible. I think we provided a general format to the area, but I believe Melanie and Jackie were working with you on how that reporting should look moving forward, because there isn't a standard set for it, so it can be whatever you guys want. As well as encouraging the community to attend the listening sessions, town meetings, what do you call them, Mark?
Well, there's at least 2 options. So there are the Nation Services community meetings, but also CHD hosts their own community meetings. So there's at least 2 options for tribal membership to voice their concerns and support of CHD.
Thank you, Mark. I think hearing it today is helpful, but I think hearing it at those venues are also a good way, as well as if there's concerns that arise, quarterly reports aren't the most timely place to bring them up. It really is more appropriate to take it to the area, to take it to the CEO of Nation Services directly. However, I do appreciate hearing the comments and discussion. With that, I'll call for the question.
All right, thank you, Lisa. Question has been called for. There's a motion on the floor by Lisa, seconded by Jameson. All those in favor to accept the report, say aye. Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. All right, thank you again, everyone, for the discussion. Moving on to item 4, accept the Division of Public Works Fiscal Year 26 First Quarter Report. Motion by Jonas, seconded by Jenny. Discussion. Seeing none, will vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. Moving on to item 5, accept the Digital Technology Services Fiscal Year 26 First Quarter Report.
So moved.
Motion by Lisa, supported by Jameson. Discussion. Not seeing any from the committee. I'll go to community member Nancy Barton. You got 5 minutes. Thank you.
Are you on environmental?
Nope.
What are you on?
DTS.
You're on DTS. Okay. Well, I guess I'll talk about it then. You know, I am not well versed in computer technology. I always need a lot of help, and I sure do appreciate the Community Resource Center. I feel like I can go there and you know, everything's going to be right in my world when I leave. So I really do appreciate that department. What I found out when I tried to log into the tribe's information is that I was blocked. And so I tried to do it myself twice, and I couldn't get through. So I went to the CEC, and there were a number of people there who were very frustrated with why was the portal access changed. Nothing in the portal was changed. The only thing that was changed was to get into it. And how frustrating, because you know, you should take a couple times and be able to get into it, and if you can't, and then you got to go somewhere else, and it takes an entire department almost 2 hours to get a group of people logged in. There's something seriously wrong with that. I guess I'm going to be looking for an explanation of why the access to that was changed. I'm not sure that people really realize that there's a change yet, but they will once they realize that their GWA is being paid early, and they're going to want to know where their money is. So we have a serious issue. You didn't let the people know that it was going to change. You didn't train them how to go into the site and change it. We were just left out there, you know, in the abyss. So, you know, those are some of my issues with this whole thing. Unfortunately, you know, in one of the comments, you know, and I'll rely on social media. I'm on there every day. There's 3 different sites you can go to. One of them was call enrollments. I'm not sure why enrollments would have anything to do with anything other than knowing my enrollment number and having my money. But I couldn't understand that. People who didn't have authorization, people who, you know, I have a hard time when they get on there and they say, oh, I think, I believe, maybe. Don't go on there and say those things, because then you create further chaos and confusion. And you know who you are if you're listening on here. And one of those comments was to call enrollments. And I was like, why would you call enrollments in order to update the portal? So how frustrating, you know, and you could have better communication to the people that you're going to do this in the first place, and not, you know, when you try to go on, then all of a sudden realize, oh my God, I'm blocked up. So there were people who reported spam. There were people who were reported that they couldn't get any further into the portal. I would start calling it, you know, not my favorite word, but when you say the word portal, my word is the sludge pond.
All right, thank you for your comments, Nancy. John?
Do you want me to take a stab at responding to that quick? Otherwise,
Sure.
I don't know if anyone from DTS is on the call as well.
Hi, John. Jason's here.
Jason's on.
Do you want to take a stab first? You want me to go at it?
Go ahead, John.
All right. So the root of the change from the old portal to the new portal stems from a new provider for the enrollment database. So we've been using Power8/AS400, the IBM program, for I don't know how many decades now. So we're moving away from that. The new provider is Arctic IT, And that third-party provider is utilizing a Microsoft-based program, so it's much more modern. There's also increased security measures for accessing the portal. So it is a big change. The reason that it kind of stems from trust and enrollment is because we are the caretakers of all of the data, all of the membership data, so it ties directly into our database. I do share some of the frustrations as well. I had a 45-minute call with a member yesterday just to get onto the portal. So it is a process that we're kind of all learning from. We do want increased security measures because one thing that we're very protective is the membership data for each individual, and within that, we want members to be as protective as possible with their portal access. You do have very sensitive information regarding Social Security numbers, banking information, so if there's any attempt to protect that, that's what we're trying to do with the increased security measures. The distinct email is a kind of a tough one too, getting people to sign up with that. The good news is we're at about 1,000 people that have attempted to sign in. I think about 600 to 700 are approximately fully logged on to the new portal. So I'm anticipating a bigger increase for the late period coming up at the end of March or the beginning of March. And I think it's going to take off again in the summer. So we have 14,000 adult members. We need to get through this. So we're trying to provide resources at the CEC, the call center, economic support, the libraries. So we're not seeing a huge influx, but we do see the frustration as well getting onto that new portal.
All right, thank you, John. Mark?
And related, I really appreciate the plug for our Community Resource Center. That was formerly the Community Education Center. I know we're reliant on our acronyms and change is difficult, but they have changed their name from the Community Education Center to the Community Resource Center, and under the leadership of Sean Paulus there's really been an uptick in programming and services that are available to our tribal membership and to our community, and for individuals that do need help accessing the portal. The Community Resource Center is an area where you can go to get support, to get onto the portal, but there are a lot more services and programs available through that area. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mark. All right, any other discussion? All right, not seeing any. There's a motion by Lisa, seconded by Jamison to accept the report. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. Thank you, everyone. All right, moving on to item 6, accept the education and training fiscal year 26 first quarter report. Motion by Jonas, seconded by Jenny. Discussion? Seeing none, we'll vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. Next up, item 7, accept the Environment, Land, Agricultural Division fiscal year 26 first quarter report. Motion by Jonas, second by Jenny. Discussion? Not seeing any from the committee. We'll go to community member Nancy Barton. You have 5 minutes. Thank you.
I want to address June Haquah and the apple orchard that fall under this department. You know, I'm well aware, you know, that there's no corn. I don't know what's going to happen this year with our orchard. It's like we're holding our breath, hoping that there's going to be apples this year. And in this report, there's not anything regarding either one of those entities. And now the food pantry has been placed underneath this entity. I'm concerned. I'm going to say it, you know, these are quarterly reports that are very important, and they contain little or no valuable, I feel, information. You know, you're talking in here about the director drinking herbal tea, talking about food is medicine, and it is, and how we can eat better. But I'm not getting, I guess, the information that I'm looking for regarding the pantry, June Haquah, and the apple orchard. And those are important entities that we're pouring a lot of money into. June Haquah has over $300,000 in their budget. You have men, gas, equipment, a barn, and you can't grow corn. I brought this up at the community meeting that it's time to look at all of this. And is it time to consolidate Junehaqua under the farm? Because this is not working. My, I guess, measure of what you have is to go into the 54 one-stop. There's no corn. And so I'm concerned, and something needs to be done, and I'm gonna ask the business committee, because I know you guys go into your work meetings and whatever it is you do behind the scenes, we're not allowed there. Something needs to happen. You cannot allow an entity that doesn't know, I guess maybe they know what they're doing, but they're not doing it. It's not happening. Something has to happen. You cannot continue to pour money into this entity without anything to show for it. The emergency food pantry resolution, the bottom line of that resolution asks for corn, grass-fed beef, apples, chickens, I can't remember what the other one is. It's one page, it's real easy. It's 3 lines on the bottom. And the reason that I did that was to, I guess, keep track and monitor our food sovereignty and our food subsistence. Are the things that we're budgeting and growing and doing going to the people that it needs to go to, including the people at the pantry, our elders? Is corn going down to Head Start and daycare? It's not. And so we need to take a look at all of that and what is it that we can do to be successful, because this is not successful. You know, I tried to address this on many levels. I met with opposition. My question was, are the people, you know, running Junehaqua, what farm were they born and raised on? And I was told they have masters over there, Nancy. They have masters. And so you can have all the masters you want, but if you don't know what you're doing, then we need to step back and take a look at how are we going to make this successful. After 40 years, it feels like everything's getting ruined. So I don't know what to do and how to do it, except otherwise come up here and talk about it, and then it's, you know, out the door. I'm gonna ask the business committee to take this to a work meeting and decide what needs to happen. This is not okay. March, April, May, we're gonna start planting in 3 months. Are you gonna allow them to plant again and not get any corn? We've listened to all the excuses. The deer, the raccoons, you know, we had that conversation. You know, the raccoons ate my tool belt, all that. And the excuses that went on and on and on year after year. And I'm concerned about it. You know, myself, I don't care about some corn soup. I mean, really, I'll eat some cornbread every day, but some corn soup, my mom makes it, I'll eat some corn soup. But there are other people who like the corn. And so if it's, you know, who you say you are, and then we have no corn, how is that okay? So that is my request, is that the business committee do whatever it is they have to do to take Junehaqua and all of that is not producing anything and put it, I don't know, under the farm or what it is you need to do, but something needs to happen because another year is coming. And, you know, I again started walking around with the budget. You know, for a while I didn't do that, but I'm doing it again. And we're pumping hundreds of thousands of dollars into entities with nothing to show for it. And how is that okay?
All right, Nancy, your time has expired.
Okay, thank
Mark, and then Eric.
Thank you. Just a very quick response, and I'm going to steal a bit of Eric's thunder, but again, if there's community concerns, please bring those to my office. Please bring those to our directors, our managers. I'm not sure how long ago Nancy had conversations with areas, but we had a record year last year for white corn production. So it's available. Again, we had a record year last year for white corn production. I will defer to Eric McCluster for other details to the questions.
Thank you, Mark. Go ahead, Eric.
Thank you. I welcome Nancy anytime. Come to my office with your questions, any concerns that you have. Be happy to sit down with you and talk. I share a number of your same concerns. You know, we've got to see some results from what we're investing in our ag operations, and she's right. You know, we haven't had corn the last 3 years. Mark did steal the thunder. Yes, we we planted corn at Junhinqua and we planted corn at Oneida Nation Farm this year because of a backup plan, basically, because of the shortage that we've had from the harvest at Junhinqua. And we had a phenomenal year with our corn harvest, the canneries full with corn, the one-stops and entities within the tribe have corn available. So that's not an issue this year. Going forward, we will have corn to meet all the community demands for this year and going into next year because of the surplus from the harvest this year. You know, the consolidation of operations that is happening, it takes time. You know, if Nancy would like to get into the details of that, you know, I would be happy to have a conversation with her. But yeah, it is concerning and it is expensive what we're investing in our egg operations, and we've got to be more accountable for it. So with the reports, because I apologize if there wasn't enough information in there. We can't cover everything, but we try and cover as much as we can. And, you know, there's nothing that we're trying to hide. We're trying to be as transparent as possible. You know, the orchard has changed its practices, and that's because we're not putting as much chemicals on our product there, on the apples. You know, we're not getting the same kind of harvest that we had in the past, but things are coming around. You know, it does take time, and it's a you know, a new practice. And you know, we don't have the same quality of apples that we've had in the past or the volume of apples in the past, but we're not dumping the same amount of chemicals that we were in the past. So the product that we are getting is a lot more healthy, a lot more, you know, something that, you know, we're happy to be able to put back into the community, something that's not, you know, heavily dependent on chemical use. But I'm happy to meet with Nancy anytime if she's got questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Eric. Any other discussion on the Environment, Land, Agricultural first quarter report? All right, not seeing any. There's a motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. Moving on to item 8, accept the grants fiscal year 26 first quarter report. Motion by Jenny, seconded by Jameson. Discussion? Seeing none, we'll vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. Moving on to item 9, accept the Human Services Division fiscal year 26 first quarter report. Motion. Motion by Jonas, second by Larry. Discussion? Not seeing any from the committee. We'll go to community member Nancy Barton. You have 5 minutes. Thank you.
On October 9th of 2024, I brought forward a request regarding the World War I, World War II, and Civil War veterans headstones. And the update that was given in June of 2025 said that this report would come back to a quarterly report. My understanding is that one headstone was ordered, and when we received it, there was damage to it. So in this report, it was identified that there are approximately 260 graves of those individuals. Not all of them need to be cleaned and not all of them need to be replaced, but there's not an update in this report regarding that project that I brought forward. So I did stop by and I saw Connor to see if I could find out where we were with that. And he pretty much didn't have too much of anything he could tell me. So I'm looking, I guess, for an update of where we're at with this, because it's a year and a half and somebody gives you a project, it shouldn't take a year and a half because you have people that you delegate it to. It's not costing the tribe anything. You know, Connor expressed that he and others went out to the cemetery, you know, it was muddy, and identified, you know, what needed to be fixed and cleaned, and now here we are stuck. So I guess I'm looking for you know, an update of where we are with this because it was supposed to be brought back today here at a quarterly meeting.
Mark?
Appreciate that you did go to Connor as the Director of Veteran Services to get an update. I would need to follow up with Tina Jurgensen regarding future progress.
Go ahead, Nancy, you still got 3
I
minutes.
guess that's not a good enough answer for me. Is she online? And I'm looking for what got done in between the 18, 19 months since I brought this project here. It's unacceptable. I'm frustrated, really. I mean, you know, this is under your division. You know, these reports, as far as I'm concerned, my 2 cents I'm gonna add in here is I've worked on the outside, and I'm well aware of corporations, businesses, and entities that submit annual, semi-annual, and quarterly reports, and some of these would not be accepted. And, you know, they're important, and we need information, and we need follow-up. You guys have all the resources available to you, staff, laptops, you know, all of that. Do you have a system where you know, track what you're supposed to bring back? And is Tina on the call? And if she, there, I see her up there. I guess I'm looking, you know, for an update. And, you know, the thing that I hate to do when I bring things back like this and nothing has happened is that, you know, people get in trouble. And so, you know, I'm not interested in getting anybody in trouble. I'm interested in moving the project forward. And so I'm gonna look for the business committee to make a motion to bring this back because obviously nothing has happened. And I'm gonna need to keep track of this now, obviously. So that's what I'm gonna be looking for from the business committee. It's important. This was a result of Lauren Hoffman, is that his name? He came here and I went to his event and I found it really fascinating, the things that he had to say about our graveyards, our cemeteries, and I have a personal interest in that. I have a son and my dad now, you know, who are in a cemetery. And so my concern was by a previous comment made by Madeline of the conditions of our headstones and the respect that we show our veterans. And there's 2 people that I specifically, I'm gonna go look for their headstones, Charlie Elm and Tom Elm. And if you get to watch the Oneida Elder interviews and Ken Hill talks about them, they were amazing men. And I'm interested in where they are and how the condition of their headstones are because they really have a story. So those are the things that I'm gonna ask the business committee to make a motion to bring this report back. You know, and hopefully we don't have to wait for a quarterly report for it to get brought back. It's gonna start getting warm. You can order those headstones and they can be brought here so that when it is warm, they can be installed or whatever it is. I don't know what that process is, you know, what the veterans do, because that's not me, that's them. So that's just some more of that.
All right, thank you, Nancy. Your time has expired. I'll go to Tina.
Morning. Connor has been working on the creation of a policy. He did go and make a request just to, with the one headstone to see how long it would take and what the processing entailed. It did take a little bit and it was disappointing that the headstone came back damaged. The last report that was provided to Mark on December 1st. So I guess I'm not, the way our template is for our quarterly reports isn't set up for me to report on a specific project. So I'm kind of wondering how you want me to report progress on this.
Thank you, Tina. Mark?
Yeah, and I know Nancy wasn't at that BC meeting, but I believe this was on the BC agenda in December as an update. We can certainly provide an update in quarterly reports. And also a reminder, in alignment with nation practices and in discussion with an external vendor that does have expertise and experience in headstones, my recommendation was to not utilize chemical cleaners on our tribal lands. And in a lot of cases, those headstones are extremely old, Civil War era tribal members. And so pressure cleaning, power cleaning, that was also not as advised as an option for those older headstones. We have identified headstones that do need replacement. So that progress is moving forward. And I failed to mention previously that we did provide that report in December. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mark.
I'm going to
Nancy?
respectfully request 1 more minute if I could, please.
Is there a committee member willing to entertain the request? Motion by Jameson, seconded by Jonas. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. Thank you. Additional minute.
That report was not brought back here in December, which is why it's on this agenda to date. And, you know, as far as Tina not knowing or understanding, you know, where she is in all of this, you know, when Human Services, I'm gonna have a hard time with that because now you changed your name, people change their name, has an item that's been referred to a different date. You think you would follow that. You know, you would track that. You'd have, you know, your phone, you'd have your computer, this report's coming back, and that's what this did. You didn't have anything in December. That's why it's been brought back here to date. So how frustrating. So again, I'm gonna ask the business committee to make a motion to bring this back because here we are without any answers. Have you ordered more? When are you gonna order more? And what are you gonna do when they get here? You know, I'm not sure what the process is, and you know, I don't wanna be disrespectful and say I don't care because that's not my job. That's the headstone people, that's the veterans, that's, you know, the monument company or whatever you've decided to do. But obviously, nothing has happened, and it's been 18 months. So I'm gonna ask the business committee to please make a motion to bring this back so that it doesn't get lost in the universe.
Mark, and then also Connor has his hand up.
That was submitted for the December 10th BC meeting. I had to look that up, sorry. All right, thank you. Connor?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, Nancy. Just to give a quick recap, one of the reasons that the process has slowed for us to order the headstones as a whole is we want community input from the family to be able to order those stones, so we are not just replacing stones we find without family support or approval. That is one of the reasons we did submit the one application, and we got that stone in. It did arrive damaged. However, we did that one single one as a proof of concept to see, like, yes, the National Cemetery would submit the replacement. They do currently have one in transit to replace the one that did show up broken. But yeah, once the weather clears up, we do have the list. We are going to go out, and then our plan is to put it in the gully to see, does anybody have any input on these particular stones? If you have a list and locations of where they are, because we found about 8, I would love that list, because we'll go out and we'll find them. But just to be able to give a little bit more backstory to it, it was a proof of concept, but I haven't lost the project on me.
All right, thank you, Connor. Mark?
And just for reference, that was on the agenda for the December 10th regular BC meeting. It was item E under new business. So there are more details. Again, that's December 10th regular BC meeting, item E under new business. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mark. Any other discussion on the report? All right, not seeing any, we'll vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. All right, thank you everyone for your time and your attention. That concludes the operational reports. I think we can go back to the top of the agenda. All right, looking at meeting minutes, approve the January 14th, 2026 regular business committee meeting minutes. Motion by Jenny, supported by Kirby. Discussion? Seeing none, we'll vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. Under resolutions, item A, adopt resolution entitled Approval of the Economic Development Diversification and Community Development Funds for a donation of $200,000 for the donation for Roy Skinador Memorial Pool Tournament.
Support.
So, motion by Jonas, supported by Kirby. Discussion? Lisa?
I believe this is submitted by Justin as a follow-up to the directive that we gave at the last meeting. I'm just wondering, at the last meeting, our motion was to, well, the motion that was approved was to support the donation pending receipt of the sponsorship benefits. Has that been received, Justin?
I have not received that.
Thank you.
All right, any other discussion from the committee? Larry?
Just for purpose of disclosure, there is state tourism money that's being pursued to potentially offset the stipulated sum. So we'll await if we are awarded, but I just want to make folks that are looking in at the meeting that we're going to hopefully get assistance on that, and appreciate tourism's effort toward that resource. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. Lisa?
I have a concern about pursuing state dollars. I believe that was the part of the whole discussion at the last meeting. I think I inquired with the chief financial officer regarding the tribe applying for a grant in the amount of $150,000, I believe, through the state, and us being a pass-through, that was a concern. So I'm going to continue to restate that concern if that is the case. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Lisa. Michelle?
Just really quick, it's actually through the Wisconsin Economic Development Fund, and they have an opportunity attraction fund, which is attracting tourism events to specific areas. So yeah, we'll talk with to figure out the pass-through or how that all works, but I believe it has to be either a state, local, or a tribal government that applies for those types of funds.
Berlinda, then Lisa.
Sagoi, thank you. Unfortunately, if my recollection from our prior meeting is correct, this is not an Oneida Nation sponsored event. This is a sponsorship. As a sponsorship, Oneida Nation should not apply for a grant for an event that is being held by an external entity, because it creates a subrecipient situation, and our audit process, our financial system process, is not conducive to the enhanced reporting requirements that are required for a subrecipient situation, and any non-compliance with grant requirements would put all of the Oneida Nation's grant funds in jeopardy. Thank you.
Thank you, Erlinda. Lisa?
Thank you, Erlinda, and I believe that particular issue is why the motion is posed at the last meeting in support of a $200,000 donation as opposed to a $150,000 matching funds. So again, restating that I don't agree with pursuing any grant if we're going to be a pass-through for an external entity. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Lisa. Kirby?
And I guess for me, I just need clarification with this motion that I seconded. Does the memorial get the 200,000? That's the intent. And I'm just feeling like there's hurdles are another thing to jump through, and the intent is to do the $200,000 donation. I thought we followed all the processes. It fell within the requirements of the Economic Community Development Fund, and I'm thinking I'm saying the right acronyms, but the intent is just to give the donation of the event to the memorial. Thank you.
Thank you, Kirby. Jameson?
Yeah, well, Mr. Chair. So I agree with Secretary Liggins about the concern and Chief Financial Officer Relinda Littenham-Lambries about the concern of the nation serving as a pass-through for a state grant. As CFO just stated, that becomes a liability for the nation if there is non-compliance by a third party or an entity that is carrying out the spending of the spend down of the grant. But what I wanted to mention is that when I'm viewing this through a nation building lens, I think about capable governing institutions, and I think this is one where we need to strengthen. We need to figure this out because we want to support community members, and I support the submitter who's bringing this forward, and any other community members that want to bring forward these opportunities for economic development or community engagement, gathering, involvement, all those types of activities and events. However, coming to the government and requesting this type of funding and this type of support, what if a tribal member is looking to go to school and acquire education abroad? Let's say they're going to Oxford. Usually that's a scholarship, but higher education isn't going to support that. So if that individual who's seeking that assistance, they could come before the business committee and request the same dollar amount, $200,000. And that would be going to one individual, and I think that this body would want to support that. But how does that look optically, supporting one individual, $200,000? This is just an example in comparison to supporting a whole event. I think this body would be hard pressed to not support that type of request. And so that's the crux of the issue, is that we need to find a better avenue, a better pathway for these requests to come through. And that is something that I think that this body needs to figure out. And I think that we will. If there is a sponsorship or a donation request from, let's say, not a corporation, but an organization like an institution like UWGB or the YWCA, YMCA, for examples, those could go under, as an example, intergovernmental affairs. If we have individuals coming forward that don't have an LLC or not an LLC, a nonprofit organization, a 501c3, they could go through the department that will be helping out with this, which is tourism. I think that's a concept of a plan that we can consider and we can look at, but these requests coming straight to the business committee is not a strong governing process, and so we'll figure that out. Just wanted to share that much. Support the submitter, support the event. We just have to find a better way for these requests to come through. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you. I will just reiterate the motion that the business committee made on January 14th, that the support for the memorial tournament proposal in the amount of $200,000 pending receipt of the sponsorship benefits arising out of the financial support, and with the requirement of a report from Mr. Skinador on the return on investment of the event to be submitted no less than 90 days after the event. And the final directive was to direct our economic strategy coordinator, Justin Nishimoto, to follow up to complete all the necessary work and to provide this resolution that's here today. So I believe Justin's completed his portion. Again, it's my understanding that the sponsorship benefits information has not been submitted as directed. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Lisa. Go to community member Nancy Barton. You have 5 minutes. Thank you.
Okay, I'd like to just add to Jameson's comments, and about this whole pot of money. There was conversation previously about looking at that whole thing. What are you going to fund and what aren't you? So here we are, still talking about that, and you guys are the ones that do all of that, so I'm going to, you know, ask in a nice way that you revisit that whole thing, because there are a lot of projects and a lot of people who want a lot of money, and you do it for one, you better do it for everybody. My understanding that this money, when it came, because I'm here a lot, I used to be more, was that this money was going to be used to, I guess, generate more money. And, you know, I'm sure that's gonna happen over at the casino. And this is a good thing, and I'm gonna support it. But other people who come, you know, what if I want, I'm not gonna say it, okay. What if I want something and, you know, you guys are politically or, you know, whatever, against it, but you've done one, you have to do another. So I'm gonna ask that you revisit what that money is for, what it can be used for, and then also to look at how and if are we going to incorporate this pool tournament into not just a sponsorship, but will it be a continued event? So maybe on the report that can get brought back. The other thing I want to talk about in this report was that there was mention of a youth clinic. And to me, that's a very important issue because we've had youth clinics at the LPGA. We have an organization called the Oneida Youth Leadership Institute. You know, those entities and those things, they don't include all of our children. So what I'm gonna ask Ray is in his youth clinic that he include our kids in our housing projects, our kids with holes in their tennis shoes at Site 2, and the kids who don't get included in all of the indigenous games and the lacrosse downstairs and the money and the equipment and the trips and the clinics that all go on where certain families are always included and other kids are left out. So I'm gonna ask that you be real, you know, cognizant of, you know, including kids who are usually never included in any of this kind of stuff. You know, we have kids that go to school at Preble. We have kids that go to school at Freedom. We have 5 different school districts, and it always seems like the same kids always benefit from something. And then when you want to report about indigenous games or the clinics that went on at the LPGA, you can't find out. I'm not asking for names. I don't need that, but I need to know that, you know, you included children who are normally not ever included in these kinds of events. So that was my comment about that. And then, you know, I sure do appreciate this picture. Like, that's like, so, that's our guy, that's our man, you know, that should go in the gully. But, so, you know, normally, you know, I would be against something like this. I'd be like, oh my God, we need this and that, and the roof's leaking and all that, but I want to support, you know, him, and hopefully we keep this going, and good luck.
All right, thank you, Nancy. Lisa had a response.
Kirby, I believe you asked a question on, so the $200,000 that's being supported through this resolution today is coming out of the EdSed funds as a sponsorship for the event. I would defer to the treasurer and probably Michelle on, that's the intent of these dollars, to go as a direct sponsorship for the event. I thought that we clarified our ineligibility or our non-desire to go through with a pass-through grant at the last meeting, so I'm not sure why we're continuing to pursue that. Thank you.
Jameson, then Ray.
Yeah, well, Mr. Chair, I'd like the business committee to consider adding an additional resolve to direct the CEO Nation Services to bring back a report 90 days after the pool tournament detailing whether this event should become an annual occurrence under tourism. Yeah, well.
All right, thank you, Jameson. Ray?
Hi, my name is Ray Skinador. I'm here for all questions about this pool tournament. We just had it past July. It was amazing, better than expected, and expect next year to be even better than last year. Yeah, so last meeting 2 weeks ago. The original proposal was with two options. I was recommended to present those two options. And so now the resolution that's written here for this week has removed option A. So the pass-through or any grant stuff is off the table here. We will be using the grant, trying to. Dr. Poole is going to try to use it through his organization. His WPBA and Dr. Poole Promotions. If it's able to be used that way, it may have to be through a government, but he's still interested in it, and they're still interested in our tournament. It's trying to bring major events all to Wisconsin. That's what the fund was created for, and if we do use it, this tournament is going to be even much more better, like unreal, amazing. So there's still a little bit of hope for that. Nancy, the youth clinic, we did one last year. It was kind of not too well advertised ahead of time, but this year's obviously gonna be better. It's year one. Oneida Youth were free. This is a world-class clinic put on by world-class pros. This is probably one of the best parts of this whole thing. And then, so last week I did make an appointment with Justin Nishimoto, the economic strategy coordinator. I met with him and we went over the report, which you wanted for their final report, expectations for that. I met with him and I said, I didn't have the minutes with me from the day before, but I said, what do I need to provide? And that was what we went over. So I'm ready and looking forward to that.
All right, thank you, Ray. I think Lisa had mentioned that one thing was missing from the previous motion, kind of was the sponsorship, what that all entails for Oneida Nation to receive for that sponsorship is still waiting for. So generally you get a slide deck of, okay, we're sponsorship level at this much, and this entails this marketing, your name placement here, advertising this many times, all that stuff was also a part of that original motion to be included as a part of the adoption of this resolution.
Okay, I was unclear on that. And when I showed up, I was saying, what do I need to provide? And we went over for the final report. I didn't have the minutes with me from the day before, but yeah, I was still unclear till you said that exactly. Like, what would be an example? So it was written in the last year's proposal. We're the title sponsor, so we get they renamed the tournament instead of WPA World 8-Ball Championships. It's Oneida WPA World 8-Ball Championships. We're moving our opening ceremonies to Thornberry Creek. We were at Lambeau last year. There's more too, but those are the major big ticket items there.
All right, thank you, Ray. All right, any other discussion? Jenny?
I'm just really torn on this. I attended last year, had a good time, spoke with a lot of the customers that were there, really enjoyed it, and I really support that you're doing this. But in the back of my mind, Nancy is saying, come one, come all. What's the next, what's the next private entity that's going to come for the EdSed monies? An individual coming for that. So that's kind of where I'm torn. I want to support it, and I believe in what you're doing, but it's really tough to do that. So just my statements. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Jenny. Jameson?
Just bringing this back up, asking the motioner and seconder, who I don't know who that is, to
Jonas and Kirby.
Jonas and Kirby, Councilman Metoxen, Councilman Hill, asking if you agree to my adjustment to the resolution. that I stated earlier, which would require direct the CEO Nation Services to bring back a report 90 days after the event that will provide the details on whether or not this pool tournament event should become an annual occurrence, and whether or not it should be housed under tourism.
Yes, I would support that.
Yeah, I support that.
Thank you.
Into the motion.
All right, motioner, second concur. Lisa?
Thanks. I'm going to oppose the resolution. I think I made that clear at the last meeting as well. I found a solution to move this item forward for the group with the motion that I made but then opposed at the last meeting. You know, I support the event, Ray. I think it's, you know, I think it's great for the community. I know it has meaning for the family. I understand all that. I just really have an issue with continuing to provide these dollars to external entities. I opposed continued because there was dollars that were donated last year for this event. So this would be like coming back for a second year. Similar with the safe shelter, I understand the need, but I could not continue to support the external entity. The issue with controls is something that I have an issue with. I oppose the singers. There was a $5,000 donation that went there because I had an issue with how those dollars were gonna get passed through. So again, I understand the event. I think it's great for the community, but I just don't think it's the nation's responsibility. So I just wanna make sure that's clear. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other discussion? Question has been called for. Motion is to adopt a resolution titled approve the use of economic development, diversification, community development funds for the donation of $200,000 for the donation of the Roy Skendro Memorial Pool Tournament, with the one addition in the resolution as stated by Jameson for the nation CEO to come back with a report 90 days after the completion of the event to determine whether sponsorship should be included within the nation's services area, something like that. Just going from memory at this point. All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Abstentions? Motion carries. One abstention, Lisa.
For the record.
For the record, Lisa. Or one opposed, Lisa.
One opposed. I'm opposing the adoption of this resolution because I do not believe it's the nation's responsibility to provide continued funding to an outside entity. Additionally, at the January 14th, 2026 regular business committee meeting, this sponsorship benefits were requested and have not yet been received. I support the event itself. I understand its meaning to the family, but I don't believe it's the nation's responsibility. I look forward to tourism's review of the event and its determination if this can be transitioned into an internal event. Thank you.
Make a subsequent motion.
Jonas?
Can make a motion to bring back or bring the this conversation, the process of how community members bring forward an idea or an event that they have in mind that they would want the nation to sponsor, that we formulate or have a conversation on where we can get in consensus of a process at a work session.
All right, Jonas makes the motion to defer the discussion about the process to a work session. Seconded by Jenny. Any further discussion? Seeing none, will vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. All right, thank you everyone for the discussion. Moving on to the next item, adopt resolution entitled approval of the use of economic development, diversification, and community development funds for the Benia capital contract of $273,000.
So moved.
Motion by Kirby, seconded by Jenny. Discussion?
Do we need an expedition of this to get things do we need this to be expedited to get things moving?
What's that mean?
All right, any other discussion from the committee? Jonas?
I just want clarification on the expedition of this process, or what the motioner is trying to clarify.
Deborah?
What I'm looking for is some type of, assuming this is approved, is some type of expedition of the purchase order process, because that can take like, I don't know how long, but it can take some time. There's some really, again, if approved, there's some projects that are pending, and none of those things can start until the purchase order is put forward and finalized, whatever that process is, that are critical to some of the pending General Tribal Council actions in reference to the concerns and issues with the corporation. And this is a 9-month time frame to develop the structure and bring it forward. So the sooner the better that if we can move forward with it.
Jonas?
After the, just for formulation of process, maybe the Secretary can answer this. After we approve this as the GAO, send that to the PO or to the accounting area? Does it go to the GAO first to be processed, or does it go straight to accounting after if we approve this? How's that process?
Justin manages this fund. I think he works with the GAO for the administrative work.
Okay, thank you.
I have an answer to that. I do that directly. So I go through the AS400 and I do the purchase order and send it in right to that. So I take care of that.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you, Justin. Relinda?
Thank you. I am not entirely sure what is meant by expedition of the purchase order process, if that is in the purchasing area, if that's what Deborah is referring to. I would have appreciated that conversation to be held with me in the office rather than bringing it to a business committee meeting. Purchasing has 2 senior buyers, which one I believe this is their last week, and they have 4 buyers for an organization that employs 2,300 employees. There is more requests for POs than the staffing can push a button and have a PO spit out immediately. It is on a first come, first served basis, and they do expedite and work as quickly as possible. However, if process isn't followed, if it sits in someone's approval queue waiting to be approved, those processes are all outside of their control. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Relinda. Deborah?
Justin, since you will be working with the purchase order, can you clarify the process?
So I go through the AS400. I'm not gonna go step by step, but I create the PO. Oh, and I don't create the PO, excuse me, but I submit it for the PO to purchasing. So as soon as this is the resolution is signed, as soon as it's signed, I start going through that process. Thank you.
Okay, and I think that was the intent, is that whatever the process is, because I did go to the purchasing director and I asked her what the next steps were, and she didn't really clarify what the next steps were. So that's why I'm asking that whatever the process is, that there be consideration given.
Mr. Chairman, I would request that this conversation, this line of discussion not be included on the business committee floor. This is an administrative day-to-day function that is addressed within existing forms and processes and organizational units of the nation, and cannot be affected by the business committee on this floor.
All right, thank you, Joanne, for the reminder. All right, so any other discussion from the committee on this request before I go to committee member? All right, Nancy, you got 5 minutes, thank you.
Okay, you know, this is really exciting. You know, we've been so stagnated for so long, and it's just like we have a pot of money and anybody can come and get it whatever they want. And there's so much waste. You know, you can go to these programs and entities and services, and there's so much waste. And so, you know, I don't know what the process is that this individual from Pokagon, you know, he's coming to help us. And I'm sure that he's got all of his ducks in a row. And I'm looking forward to him coming in, and I hope that the process is identifying all the waste and pulling all that money in and using it and putting it away for our future. You know, I'm well aware of projects, you know, in the past that that have been completed. And one of them was the elder per capita payment, you know, that money be put away and that the elders 65 and older would only be paid off the interest of that payment of that pot of money. And I think that's a very good fiduciary responsibility, because we've seen people come here and do some really weird things with our money, and we don't have nothing to show for it. And so I'm excited about this project. I'm excited about the pool tournament. It's like we're moving forward, and things are changing for the better. And I'm not going to say my last, you know, comment that I want to say about, you know, what the business committee is doing in order to make things better, but I sure do appreciate this project coming forward, and I'm going to be watching it. And my understanding is that a report would be brought back in 9 months. Is that correct? So I'll be looking for that. So how exciting, how invigorating that, you know, something new is coming. So I appreciate that, Deborah. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Nancy. Relinda?
Yes, thank you. I apologize, however, I do have a question on this agenda item, because in looking at the attachment, attachments, it appears that on 12/10/25, the business committee approved obligating the tribal contributions savings for this project. So I am wondering why we are identifying EdSed funds for the same project. I believe once the business committee approved obligating the funds, what needed to happen was the contract needed to be created. And then once the contract was created with the vendor, brought to Finance Committee for approval, I do see that that process was completed. I believe the only step that is necessary was for the requisition to be created to create a purchase order, and that this item should not actually be on the BC agenda. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Relinda. I don't recall, so I don't know if anyone else recalls the process. Lisa?
BC Resolution 121025B, obligation for tribal contribution savings for the Commerce Development Consultant contract, was adopted in the amount of $273,000.
So then all that was remaining is the administrative process and the individuals that are involved in the administrative process to create the requisition so that purchasing could create the PO. It could go through the approval process within the Infinium system, and the contract and the vendor could be communicated to. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Relinda, for the clarification. So with that information, motioner and seconder, I guess this is withdraw, and this item could actually be deleted from the agenda. It was Kirby and Jenny?
Yes, agree, and then it does come from a funding source.
Yep.
And it just follows the process.
Correct.
Thank you.
All right, motioner and seconder concur to withdraw their motion to adopt the resolution. I guess entertain a motion to delete this item from the agenda. Motion by Jenny. Is there a second? Seconded by Lisa. Any further discussion? Deborah?
The only discussion is, Justin, are you aware of the requisition process that Relinda's referring to?
Debbie, we can follow up after the meeting.
Okay, all right,
It's the tribal contribution savings, so we can follow up.
okay.
All right, if there's no other discussion, we will vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. All right, that brings us to item C, adopt resolution entitled authorization of one unbudgeted position, business unit 4212001.
I'm
Mark's
done, right?
area. Yep.
Okay.
Mark?
So at the risk of leaving out details, I will give a very high overview of both of these resolutions. One is for a position at the YES program. The other is for 2 positions at childcare. Following the budget guidance for development of our fiscal year 26 budget, we had at that time budgeted workforce levels for those positions. However, they were vacant during the time of budgeting, so following budget guidance, we were advised not to include those in the budget for fiscal year 26, even though they are part of our workforce levels. Now that we're into fiscal year 26, we still realize or continue to realize a need for those positions. The 2 childcare positions are necessary to open an additional room within childcare and necessary to ensure that we are maintaining our staff to youth ratios. And the YES position will serve 77 eligible students at Lombardi School. Again, these were positions that were in our budget last year. They were in our workforce levels for last year. They were unbudgeted for this fiscal year following the budgeting guidance, but now because they are unbudgeted and we want to fill them, we need to go through the resolution process. In this effort, we did follow the budget and finances law, and I really appreciate the support of Grace Elliott from the Legislative Reference Office for helping to guide through that process and ensure that our resolutions are in the necessary format, and then also appreciation for the CFO's office for providing the fiscal analysis for these requests as, again, required by the budget and finances law. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Jenny?
Second.
There's a motion by Jenny, seconded by Larry, for the adoption of one unbudgeted position. Any further discussion? None from the committee member. Nancy Barton, you got 5 minutes.
Well, my question is, why'd you wait so long? I mean, if it was unbudgeted, that, you know, the school year, next week is February, and if you made it this far through the school year without a YES advocate, I don't understand, you know, the internal, something happened there, because there was somebody over there, and, you know, I don't know where they are, if they're gone or whatever, but, you know, seriously, by the time you hire somebody and train them to come in and do whatever they're gonna do, the school year is gonna be over. There's no school in the summer. So I'm concerned when I saw this. You know, I've had granddaughters who have attended Lombardi, and, you know, I have my own personal opinion about the YES program. And so, you know, Business Committee already took action to approve it, but you have to look at the whole picture. You know, the school year, the amount of time. I'm aware of, I have 2 grandsons who attend school in different school districts, of the 6 school districts of our tribal members. And my daughter has never met the YES Youth Advocate. These children are not being provided services through the YES program or any other program. They are enrolled tribal members, so I'm concerned. You know, you're gonna pile on somebody else with more kids when all of the whole program needs to be looked at and all the kids need to be serviced. You know, if it wasn't approved, I guess I'm looking for that answer. Why wasn't it approved in the original budget? Because I don't understand. Does money come from an outside source for the Yes Advocates? I'm not sure. Or is it 100% tribal contribution? And can't you get somebody from another school that doesn't have very many kids to take over on that or overlap? So those are my concerns. I don't have an issue with childcare teachers. We need them. We got to have them. Those are licensing state regulations. And so I'm concerned about the YES program position.
All right, thank you, Nancy. Mark?
And as with other matters related to concerns about other departments and this department, I highly encourage either contacting my office or contacting education and training. We would certainly like to sit down and talk through concerns in regards to, again, this was, we're following budget guidance, so we weren't allowed to budget for these positions following budget guidance for fiscal year 26, and it's been quite a journey trying to understand the process to utilize to get this in front of the BC for approval. And again, Grace Elliott has been highly supportive and instrumental in finally bringing this to the BC for approval.
And then also just noting for the record that the budget was just approved at the beginning of December, and it's only January, so just a little over a month has gone through from a budget being approved by General Tribal Council and this request coming forward. All right, any other discussion? Seeing none, we'll vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. Moving on to item D, adopt resolution entitled authorization of 2 unbudgeted positions, unit 4211052. And, all right, motion by Jenny. Second by Larry. Any further discussion? Lisa?
I just want to thank Mark for his diligence in following the process and getting this through. I understand that it can be cumbersome. I'm hopefully that moving through it's more clear. And just being supportive of the directives that were given in the budget guidance. You know, those aren't intended to be a hurdle for departments, but more to ensure that our budget is more closely lining to the uses, and so that we're not budgeting for positions that remain vacant, especially, you know, in this case, you know, you have noted that these have been historically difficult to fill. So there's no need to carry that budgeting dollar if they're so hard to fill. So I understand it's difficult, but I think making sure that our finances are aligned is the goal for everybody. So I appreciate the work from you, the CFO, and the LRO on this. Thank you.
All right, thank you for the comments. Lisa, any other discussion? Seeing none, we'll vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. Moving on to item E, adopt resolution entitled adoption of amendments to the public use of tribal land law. Jameson?
Yeah, well, Mr. Chair, I'll provide an overview and regarding the adoption, the consideration of adopting the public use of tribal land law amendments. So today, the Legislative Operating Committee has prepared amendments to the public use of tribal land law for consideration of adoption. The purpose of the public use of tribal land law is to prevent improper access, use, and trespass to tribal lands. And some examples of the amendments to the public use of tribal land law include eliminating the Environmental Resource Board from the law and delegating all their former responsibilities and duties to land management, delegate administrative rulemaking authority to land management to develop various rules needed to implement and enforce the law, require that land management consult with a team of subject matter experts on the development of all administrative rules, add members of Haudenosaunee First Nations governments or bands to those who can access land designated as Oneida Community Access, require that land access map be made digitally available on the nation's website, provide that land management is responsible for allocating and assigning land uses to all tribal land, the Legislative Operating Committee developed the proposed amendments to the public use of tribal land law through collaboration with representation from OPD, the Oneida Police Department, the Oneida Law Office, Land Management, and the Environmental Land and Agriculture Division. The LOC held 6 work meetings on the development of the amendments to the public use of tribal land law. And the development of the amendments to the public use of tribal land law complies with all processes and procedures required by the Legislative Procedures Act, including the development of a legislative analysis, a fiscal analysis, and the opportunity for public review and public comment. The Legislative Operating Committee held a public meeting on the proposed amendments to the public use of tribal land law on October 15th, 2025. One individual provided oral comments during the public meeting. The public comment period for the amendments to the law was held open until October 22nd, 2025. No written comments were received during the public comment period, and the Legislative Operating Committee reviewed and considered all public comments received on December 3rd, 2025. Any changes have been incorporated into this draft. If adopted by the Oneida Business Committee today, the amendments to the public use of tribal land law will become effective on February 25th, 2026. The adopting resolution also contains a directive for land management to develop all rules as deemed necessary to comply with these adopted amendments, and a directive to the Legislative Reference Office to complete a 1-year review of the implementation of the amendments. So today we are asking the Oneida Business Committee to consider a motion to adopt the resolution entitled Amendments to the Public Use of Tribal Land Law. Yawa.
All right, thank you, Jameson. Motion by Lisa, seconded by Jonas. Any further discussion? None from the committee. We'll go to community member Nancy Barton. You have 5 minutes. Thank you.
Okay, once again, you know, this is like an official historical document. I don't know if you have the same copy I do, but I'm on page 161, and it has the font where you can't read the changes or the original rule. So, you know, how can you accept a report that you can't read? I'm looking for clarification on page 152, line 34 and 35, where it says amendments to the law add members of the Haudenosaunee First Nation government or bands to access our land. I guess I'm looking for, how do you prove that? And does that include, you know, Haudenosaunee? I know what that is, but what if people from other tribes tried to come here? And we've had that. You know, we've had Winnebagos and other people hunting at our cemetery. And so I'm looking, you know, for clarification. How do you prove that? And, you know, what I know about those people out there is they're way different than us. They don't carry tribal IDs. They don't carry tribal, you know, documents around with them like we do, I do. Where I go, you gotta show that thing, get some gas and Walmart and meetings. So I'm concerned, you know, when I saw this and I read it ahead of time, you know, what that meant. And then, you know, I'm concerned about this packet. This information in here is not legible. And how can you include it in a packet? It's official. You know, this is gonna go somewhere, and, you know, in 10 years, if I wanna come back and say, I need the BC resolution for the public use of land law, and this is what it looks like, and I can't read it, how is that okay? So that's just some more of that.
All right, thank you, Nancy. Jameson?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Nancy, for your comments and concerns regarding the proposed amendments to the public use of tribal land law. I'll attempt to address the first concern that you had regarding Oneida community access, which is the amendment is going to allow members of that belong to one of the Haudenosaunee, one of the tribes within the Confederacy, to access those community access lands. And so, and then further, your concern about how do we confirm that they are actually, you know, one of the 6 tribes within the Confederacy. So just wanted to share with you all who is currently available to access these lands. So tribal member, the spouse or descendant of a tribal member, or an authorized employee of the nation. And so I guess my question would be, not to provide an answer that's asking a question, is are we currently have a proper compliance for identifying who is a descendant, who is a spouse of a descendant? So, and then you mentioned whether a lot of folks out in Canada or out in New York, they don't necessarily carry a tribal ID like Oneidas around here do. That would be, the compliance part of it is, right now, I think is, what's the phrase that I'm looking for? Like an honor system, you know, like trusting that they are. But the idea that is, and we're already currently operating that way. The idea behind it was we have a lot of folks that come out from the Thames, Southwold, New York, from our ancestral lands for ceremonies and other purposes. And so we wanted to allow them to take in some of the lands that we have. They wouldn't be able to get access to the tribal member only lands. I want to confirm that. The community access land is, again, only available to tribal members, descendants, the spouse of a descendant of a tribal member, or an authorized employee of the nation. So I don't see it as a major shift. If we were looking to change who has access or providing that access to this group of those that are that belong to the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, those type of tribal members, to have access to tribal member only access lands, I think that would be a much bigger concern, and that we did have the discussion, and we determined that that wasn't going to be an option, obviously. But we consider those, those individuals part of our family. Those are our relatives, and so we want to give them the opportunity to take in some of the lands that we have.
Thank you, Jameson. Lisa?
Thank you. Within the law, there's a provision for rulemaking for land management, and their rulemaking authority extends to any interpretation or any rule to implement the law. So my understanding, and I'd look to the LOC for confirmation, is that if there's a process or question or concern that needs to be implemented in order to validate eligibility for land use, that would be a rule that would be coming from land management. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and then Mark and land management is prepared to have those rules in the, assess and determine which of those rules need to be created, correct? Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair. And further, just to add to that, I think that the Oneida Police Department and Conservation Officer, the one that we have, would be the ones to enforce that provision of the law. Yes, and that is included in the law.
Thank you. Clarissa?
Good morning. Just to kind of continue off of Councilman Wilson's statement, if you look at the law, what we're adjusting here is the Oneida Community Access. So Oneida Community Access with the proposed amendments would be open to tribal members, those spouses and descendants of tribal members, members of other federally recognized Indian tribes, bands, or communities, members of Haudenosaunee First Nation governments or bands, authorized employees of the nations, and any persons who are accompanied by a tribal member at all times, a spouse or a descendant of a tribal member, or that authorized employee. So I believe kind of what was mentioned, that the onus would be on the individual to have whatever documentation or proof would be necessary to demonstrate to an Oneida Police Department officer or warden if checked on the land and kind of asked to show that documentation, or otherwise an individual can face trespass under the public peace law. As Councilwoman Liggins has mentioned too, what kind of documentation may be needed in order to prove this is something that could be addressed further under rulemaking. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Clarissa. Jameson?
The other concern that you had, Nancy, I didn't want to leave that out there hanging either. I think I don't know what part you were referencing as you stated that it wasn't well put together. I don't know if it was the legislative analysis or the fiscal impact statement or the law itself. We have the clean draft and then we have a red line draft, which shows all the corrections. But I will speak on behalf of our senior staff attorney at the Legislative Reference Office, Clarissa Lehman. She is as sharp as an employee in this organization. I think that I've read it multiple times. I think she's done a well job, but I wanted to, if you've ran out of time, I'd support giving you more time. I wanted to hear your clarification as to what part of the documents that are in this adoption packet that you're talking about.
If I could, excuse me, I'm sorry.
Jameson, how much time do you wish to extend?
2 minutes.
Jameson made a motion to extend 2 minutes for Nancy Barton, seconded by Jenny. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. Thank
The
you, Nancy,
process
2
we
minutes.
follow to get the packet is we go down to the main office and show a tribal ID and they give us the packet. I'm talking about the packet. I'm not talking about the law and the changes and I'm talking about the physical packet and the font that you can't, I'll get it and I'll show it to you. You can't understand what you're changing or what you're doing. And to me, I have a problem with that when you have a staff of, you know, over 20 people, but somebody doesn't look at the packet and realize that this is a historical, official document and do something to change the font so that we can read it, so that we know what the changes are. These are laws. They're not, you know, little hearsay down the road. They are official laws that are being approved. And if you can't read them, how is that okay? So that, you know, I'm not talking about the law and the changes and the amendments. I'm talking about, I guess, the condition of the packet and the information that's in it. I can't read it. How can I make a, you know, some pages are okay, and then when you go a couple more pages, they're not, and I can show it to you. Would you like me to show it to you?
What portions of the packet?
Okay.
Are we talking about the full packet?
Mr. Chairman, I would
Packet.
appreciate if we can follow up with this later, because this is really an administrative concern and has nothing to do with the agenda item itself.
Well,
I
it does,
understand
has
the concern,
everything to do with
Nancy,
the agenda item.
but
If
it
you're
doesn't have to
approving
do with the
something we
agenda item
can't
itself.
read, how is that okay?
If you want to come speak with me after, Nancy, we can talk about it. Thank you.
All right. Again, we do have a motion by Lisa, seconded by Jonas, to adopt the resolution. Is there any other comments on the adoption of the resolution? All right, seeing none, we'll vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. Moving on to item F. Kathy, did you have comments on this, on the?
Yes, I did. I wanted to say something to Jameson with regards to the discussion and Haudenosaunee and such. And you said, you know, our tribal IDs, and there's no other IDs. And my son had a Confederacy ID. He got his ID in Onondaga. And in order for him to get his ID, he had to be able to say his native name, Native American name. He had to be able to put it in writing. And he had to have a conversation about his culture. And so he couldn't just get you can't just get an ID, you know, from them. I didn't know that. And what he learned in our school, and from me and our traveling out east a lot, he was able to answer and talk and hold conversation. He used to hold conversation with his grandpa, Amos. They would talk at the kitchen table together. So he had to be able to do these things in order to get that ID. And I was really surprised. But there are other IDs out there, and there's a Confederate, I don't know if it's a Confederacy ID or Haudenosaunee, but he got his in Onondaga when we were there, and he was young. He might have been 17 or 18. But I just want you to know there's more out there than what we're trying to have, well, I don't know. I call it exploitation. but there's more out there, more to consider and all that. And you throw this Haudenosaunee stuff around, it's losing its meaning when you do that. And I've been traveling. Both my boys, they both had their names and everything, and you have to know where you come from. And that's all, it just reminded me of that.
All right, thank you for your comments, Kathy.
Oh, and the writing in the booklet looks like it's written in Japanese. That there's lots of typos and there's problems with this packet. There's, you know, and I can understand where Nancy's coming from, because she's trying to express, you know, it's a document, it's historical, it's about what's going on around here, and it looks really messy that way. I guess that's what she's trying to say, is clean it up, which could use some cleanup. Thank you for listening.
All right, thank you for your comments, Kathy. Moving on to the next item. Adopt resolution entitled Adoption Amendments to the Independent Contractors Policy. Jameson?
Second.
Motion by Jenny, seconded by Lisa. Any further discussion? Not seeing any, we'll vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Looking on to item G, the add-on, looking to adopt the resolution authorizing carryover funds to land acquisition. Lisa?
So moved.
There's a motion by Lisa, seconded by Jenny. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Item H, adopt the resolution to authorize carryover funds for the Financial Sovereignty Fund.
Mr. Chairman,
Lisa?
I'll make a motion to adopt the resolution with the suggested changes.
Motion by Lisa, seconded by Jonas. Discussion? Seeing none, we'll vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions?
Abstain.
One abstention. Kirby, motion carries. And the last item under resolutions, looking to adopt a resolution entitled endorsement for myself for the IGA Vice Chair candidate.
Second.
Motion by Larry, second by Lisa. Discussion? Seeing none, we'll vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you, everyone. Moving on to standing committees, item A1, Legislative Operating Committee, accept the January 7th, 2026 regular Legislative Operating Committee meeting minutes.
So moved.
Motion by Jenny, seconded by Jonas. Discussion? Seeing none, we'll vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Moving on to tabled business, is there a motion to take item A from the table?
Mr. Chairman.
Lisa?
Not at this time. I believe the update is that the memorandum with the response from the committee will be submitted to the first meeting in February. So we can just move on.
All right, moving on to travel requests. Approved travel request for Treasurer Larry Barton to the Native American Finance Officers Association Annual Spring Conference in Reno, Nevada, April 27th through 28th.
Second.
Motion by Jonas, seconded by Lisa. Discussion? Seeing none, we'll vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Moving on to item B, approved travel request for Councilman Jonas Hill to the NRCC 2026 winter meeting.
Second.
Motion by Larry, supported by Lisa. Discussion? Seeing none, we'll vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? One abstention. Jonas, motion carries. Item C, the add-on, looking for approval of travel requests for Secretary Lisa Liggins to attend the State of the Tribes address. Motion by Jonas, second by Jenny. Discussion.
State of the Tribes is on the 10th. Yes. Yeah, I have I'll have a card so you can like see how to see it on a live stream and I'll get it to you. Yep.
Kirby?
Yeah, I will be going down on the 9th. I didn't know if I needed to be added into this.
If you're going to spend the night, then you need to be added in.
I would like to be added to this then. I know it's 9th to the 11th, but I'm only going one night.
No, we did not vote. We're in discussion. All right, motioner, Jonas, seconded by Jenny, wish to add into the motion to approve the travel to include Councilman Kirby Metoxen. All right, discussion.
This is rare, but discussion on a travel, at least from me. Just wanted to clarify. I can hear you, Nancy, asking why we would be traveling the day before. There is the governor's ball or the governor's event that he hosts at his residence.
Reception.
The governor's reception.
It's not a ball. There's no dancing.
All right. Well, I mean, you can dance if you want to. Yeah, thank you. But just wanted to clarify that is the reason why they would be traveling before, is to attend that event. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Motioner, second concur to add Kirby Metoxen to the travel request. Any other discussion from the committee? All right, seeing none, we'll go to community member Nancy Barton. You have 5 minutes.
Are we still talking about travel? What are we talking about? Wait a minute.
We're talking about the travel request for Secretary Liggins and Councilman Metoxen to the State of the Tribes address.
Yeah, I just didn't understand why Kirby was trying to go to Madison for 3 days, but now, he's saying there's an event, and then there's the State of the Tribes. I mean, it's Madison, it's 3 hours. So you don't need to stay down there for 3 days, but that's just my comment.
All right, thank you, Nancy, for your comments. Any other discussion? Seeing none, we'll vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. All right, thank you. Going on to new business, item A, community concern, the Anna John Resident Center Care declinations.
I'm gonna make a motion to forward this item to the CEO Nation Services to complete the follow-up with the tribal member.
Motion by Lisa, seconded by Jenny, to forward to the CEO Nation Services for appropriate follow-up. Any other discussion? Seeing none, we'll vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. All right, Kathy, you got 5 minutes.
Okay, I'm sorry. Thank you. If they're gonna have a meeting with, because I know the issue with this thing had to do with the Anna John Nursing Home, and I was interested to be here, and that was when it was really cold. I think when she asked if I could be here when she was on the agenda for it, and I don't know if it was last week or the week before, but it was one of those cold days.
The item was deferred because she wasn't able to make it.
Oh, okay.
Today, she's not here, so what?
This is the third agenda that it's been on.
Oh,
It's the 3rd.
Yes.
Okay.
so I'm interested in being a part of that meeting because there's a lot of questions about Anna John, and I have questions too and I'd be interested in being a part of that.
Well, we can't.
Do I contact Pearl?
Yeah, you'd have to contact Pearl. She's the requester, so, it's really up to her
Okay.
as the
Thank you.
community concerns being raised. Who she wants to have assist her in the meeting or discussion or whatever that is. All right, moving on to the next item, item B. Yes, yep, we voted on that. It was a motion to utilize tribal contribution savings in the amount of $6.9 million to distribute $500 food payment to all general tribal council members aged 18 years or older by December 31st of 26. Nancy is the sponsor.
Yes, thank you. I tried to get this issue approved by GTC and was told that I needed to, I guess, go backwards, and that the budget process, you know, takes a whole year, and that my motion was called out of order because it wasn't given a 10-day notice. So I'm gonna, instead of working from the top down, I'm gonna come from the bottom up. And you know, this has been a long-standing item. This is not my first time here. I'm requesting $6.9 million to be allocated to the 2027 GWA food payment to all enrolled tribal members 18 and over by December 31st. And the reason that I am asking for the money from the language program to be allocated is I attempted on 3 different occasions to engage with members of the school board and the school board to attempt to find out where they were with the strategic plan to use this money. I was told that I'm not allowed to talk at the school board meetings. I have to put my request in writing, and they will decide if and when they talk about it and then come back, and so it wasn't received. I attempted on 2 different occasions to talk to 2 different school board members. One of them had no idea what I was talking about, and the other one went walking away laughing like a hyena. She's probably still laughing. And so I don't think it's funny. I don't think that $9.6 million allocated to a program or an entity is a joke. I'm concerned, and mostly why I'm concerned is because of the language audit. And what I'm going to do is encourage anybody who is listening to go and view the language audit. One of my statements was previously was that you're using the language and the culture to filter money to your family and friends. And I was
Nancy,
not,
please,
I was
let's,
not.
let's stay on the agenda item
Okay, I'm
as stated.
talking
Thank
about
you.
the language. You know, for that amount of money, you could have outsourced Babbel. We could have all been fluent speakers with cut bead moccasins by now. This is a 5-year allocation that hasn't been spent. I think the need in the community, you know, regarding everyday expenses and living expenses is important. People got the $500 payment from the COVID money, and when it stopped, you know, people were concerned. Where's my $500? They're asking me. And I said, it was the COVID money. Well, there's still COVID money out there. What are they doing with it? And so when the report came for the annual meeting and it said that that money was still sitting there not used, that was my concern. You know, the business committee takes pots of money and reallocates and does a lot of things all the time. And so, you know, I'm asking again, you know, the word that I shared today with some people was Jidawis, and that means crybaby in our language. And it's not a hard word to learn, Jidawis, you know, and I feel like that's what I am, like a crybaby coming up here trying to defend General Tribal Council's, you know, the allocations and the benefits that go to them that they can use. You know, the comment came out, well, there's enough food. You can go get food stamps, you can get commodities, you can go to the pantry. I'm concerned about everybody and that everything be equal. How long is this money going to be allowed to sit there without a plan to use it? And then when the plan comes, who's going to approve that plan? Because the only language that's being focused on is downstairs at the school. There are not language programs in this community. There's not language programs over at the Elder Center. And so it's being, I guess, tied up and not used, allocated in, I believe, you know, a small portion of people. And I'm concerned about it. And I'm going to be Jidawis, and I want the business committee to consider once again allocating the language money. They have money John Danforth was here. Did he leave? Oh, he left. There's $3 million in the trust department allocated for language revitalization. And I had a brief conversation with him also that there's no plans for that money, and they can only use the interest off of it. But so there it sits, earning money. And then you got this other pot of money, and you know, it's a well-known fact that in this community there are people who are employed by that department who don't show up for work. How can you learn and teach the language when you don't go to work?
All right, Jonas, and then Lisa.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask the CFO if we were to utilize $6.9 million out of the TCS account, what would be the remainder after the actions taken today?
I'm sorry, are you referring to
The
using unobligated TC savings? Not the pot of money that Nancy has identified?
Correct.
We don't have 6.9 million of unobligated TC savings available.
Excuse me, that's being misinterpreted. You're saying unobligated. This money has been obligated to.
Well, Nancy, there's a process, so it's obligated, so the committee would have to go through the process to unobligate it, return it to the pool of funds, and then make another request to obligate those funds.
But that's not your request.
Yes, it is, because it's been obligated, but it hasn't been used. The directive from the business
So,
committee, my understanding.
Mr. Chairman,
Lisa?
Mr. Chairman,
Nancy? Lisa?
Jonas, can you finalize your question?
Yeah, I would just want for the presenter to be clear, if you want or if you're asking for the BC to unobligate the funds through the process, then state that.
All right, I'm going to respectfully ask the business committee to, I guess, rescind the resolution that ties this money up because it is obligated, the language money, I don't know if it's 2 or 6. It is obligated, so you would have to take the resolution that obligates that money, take it away, and re-obligate it to something else. I guess that's my request that I didn't put in the packet. You know, I'm trying to be, as simple as I can here. That's your job to do all that, and then the language that goes with it. It's a process, and so my concern, was that our language is so precious. Nobody wants the language to go away, but you didn't do anything. So obviously it's not a priority, and you can come back and budget, and you can use John Danforth's money. But in the meantime, this COVID money was meant for the people. I could see it if there was a process in place, if somebody was coming and
Mr.
saying,
Chairman?
okay, here's our plan, but you don't have one.
Lisa?
I was just calling a point of order because I believe the councilman's question was answered. Is that correct? Okay.
All right, thank you. Lisa?
Okay, thank you. So the request for a $500 food payment, I'm assuming the request is it to be a general welfare payment? Yes. Okay, the requester said yes. The requester indicated yes, so a $500 food payment. So this is, as Nancy, you stated in your presentation, that this has been a request that you've made year over year. In 2024, there was a request to include a $500 food payment in the, I believe it was the FY25 budget, to be that part of the budget considerations. So that was brought to the business committee in April of 24. We talked about it at our June work session, and we came out of that meeting in September and brought back a directive because there was a request at that time to review all of the pending TC savings projects to determine if we wanted to re-obligate any of those dollars. At that point, that was not the determination. Based on the request from 2024, the business committee gave a directive to the general manager, the CEO Nation Services, to complete an assessment of the emergency food pantry, food distribution program, elder food box program, to determine if adequate resources were being directed to these programs to address the need in the community. One of the requirements in order to have a GWA payment is to be able to fill a need. That was the report that we requested, and that report came back in open session in December and was accepted by the business committee. I think that today there isn't adequate information in front of us in order to take action to rescind a resolution, because the resolution itself isn't provided to us. We don't have adequate information to re-obligate, because that has to be done via resolution. We do not have that resolution today. The determination on whether this is just a payment that goes out or is it eligible under GWA, that requires a program to be associated with it. We do not have that today. So I appreciate the request. However, we're not prepared with enough information to take any sort of action today. I would, again, as all the programming that provide food service to our tribal members, the Elder Food Box, the Emergency Food Pantry, the Food Distribution Program, the Congregate Meals Site, Meals on Wheels, all of those are under the CEO Nation Services. So I will make a motion to direct the general manager to complete an assessment, again, on the Emergency Food Pantry, Food Distribution Program, Elder Food Box Program, to determine if adequate resources are being directed to these programs to address the need in the community, and to submit an open session report at the second meeting in July 2026. And the reason that I'm providing quite a bit of time in order for the CEO Nation Services to do that is in the response that was provided in December 2024. In that response, Mr. Paulus had indicated that if there was adequate time, because we asked for that assessment to be done in a very short turnaround, if there's adequate time, there would have been a possibility to do a community survey to really measure food insecurity. Again, if additional time is needed after he comes back with his team, he can certainly come back and request that. Thank you.
All right, it's motion by Lisa, seconded by Jameson. Just noting in the motion, it's for the CEO Nation Services.
Yes, CEO Nation Services. I'm not sure what I said even. Thank you.
General Manager.
Thank you.
All right, any other discussion? Lisa?
And then additionally, Nancy, I understand, I'm hearing your frustration with the school board, the processes over there, the concerns about the language department. However, the school board is an elected entity that does not report to the business committee. I know I talked about this at our last General Tribal Council meeting. Those questions, concerns, issues have to be submitted to that entity to be addressed. We, as the business committee, they do not report to us. They're an autonomous entity, the Trust Enrollment Department, the Gaming Commission, the Trust Enrollment Committee, the Election Board. They're all elected entities that report directly to General Tribal Council. Thank you.
All right, any other comments from the committee? All right, Nancy, you got 5 minutes.
I already talked, did my presentation or whatever, but the motion, what you're asking for is us. This is for everybody. And, there's food coming in, there's a truck coming in Friday for the elders. There's, the pantry and commodities and all that. It's not enough. And you're not servicing the needs of the people who don't live on this reservation. And so this money that was supposed to be originally allocated for everybody, almost $10 million went to the language program and you don't have nothing, then it should go to everybody. I'm not saying, he can do all the reports and all the surveys, you know, and come back and say, oh, there's adequate everything. You know, nobody's going to starve here. That's not the point. The point is this money belongs to everybody and it needs to go to everybody. So, you know, to zero in on what do we got, we know what we have. To come back with a report in July, to wait that long, we already know what we have. So that's just pushing it further. And, you know, I'm getting real frustrated. I'm not going to give up. I'm not sure what's next, but this is not okay to wait that long for a report. You know, you can bring it back in 2 weeks. What do you need? So, how unfortunate.
All right, community member Ray Skendor, you got 5 minutes.
Hi, yeah, Ray Skendor, just speaking as a community member, and I just want to say overall, I support Nancy's food cards. She's been bringing this up quite a few times now, and you know, trying to navigate the system. This is kind of the problem my dad had with his pool tournament that passed through GTC. You know, COVID hit, then where do the funds come from? And you got to really kind of get a bunch of no's and show your persistence to get through there. But I think, I don't think Nancy's going to quit. She just said she's not going to quit. And I think there is a lot of support for a $500 food card or food payment or however you got to word it to make it right. But just overall, I want to say I support this. If today it doesn't pass today, maybe we'll find another way. And I also support you guys. I see you trying to help her figure it out, how to word things and maybe go to a certain department or fill it out this other way or whatever you got to do. No one knows this stuff. It's very hard to figure out, but appreciate you guys trying to help. And yeah, timely. I understand July sounds like forever away, and that I had these same kind of deadlines too with me trying to help my dad's tournament go. But yeah, just overall support.
Thank you for your comments. Any other discussion? Seeing none, we'll vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. Moving on to item C, approve the Head Start, early Head Start parent policy bylaws. Motion by Jonas, second by Lisa. Discussion? Seeing none, we'll vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. Moving on to item D, which is a handout that was passed out earlier today. Update on the development of the Oneida ESC Groups LLC Corporate Social Responsibility Policy. Motion by Lisa to accept the update, seconded by Jenny. Discussion? Seeing none, we'll vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. Moving on to item E, accept the update on the development of Bay Bank Corporation's social responsibility policy.
So moved.
Motion by Lisa, seconded by Jenny. Discussion? Seeing none, we'll vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. Moving on to item F, accept the update on the development of Oneida Gulf Enterprise Corporate Sociability Responsibility Policy.
Second.
Motion by Jonas, seconded by Lisa. Discussion? Seeing none, we'll vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. Item G, accept the update on the tribal-wide employee recognition program.
So moved.
Motion by Lisa, seconded by Jenny. Discussion? Seeing none, we'll vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. Item H, accept the information and choose an alternate representative to the Council on Offender Entry. So this was a position that was filled by Councilman Marlon Skinnerdor, and it is vacant essentially. So if there is a committee member who would like to submit to serve on this particular council, Lisa?
I do have a question. Is this required to be an elected official?
I do not recall.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to request to be the alternate representative.
All right, Jonas has stepping forward to, I guess, fill Oneida Nation's appointment or recommended to the governor? Recommendation to the governor to appoint. All right, motion by Larry,
Second.
seconded by Lisa. Discussion, Kirby?
Yeah, would it be to accept, to choose an alternate or a primary? Because I'm thinking it would be a primary.
It's just one person. This is a governor appointment. There's an application process that has to be followed. So the motion today would be to support Jonas's application
Okay,
to be appointed to.
thank you.
Larry, you okay with the
Good with
language?
that, thank you.
Okay. Lisa suggested it, so I'm assuming she's okay with it?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
All right, any other discussion from the committee? Seeing none, we'll go to a community member. Oh, Jenny?
This is to essentially replace Marlon because he's not been in attendance. Thank you.
Correct.
That's correct.
All right, community member Nancy Barton, you have 5 minutes, thank you.
I didn't hear the answer to the question if it needed to be an elected official.
Didn't
No?
get an answer to that question.
Oh, okay.
Do not know.
So I thought I missed it. Sometimes I'm reading and talking and, okay, so anyway, when this came up previously, there was, comments from people, you know, specifically Kathy. She was concerned about, you know, putting Marlon in this position because he hadn't been to work and you did it anyway. So now here we are, and good luck with that, Jonas.
All right, next, community member Ray Skendor, you got 5 minutes, thank you.
Oh, yeah, I was just wondering how long would this appointment be for? Like, how long was the rest of the term? And I was gonna throw my name in there too if nobody wanted it, but I think Jonas is better. But I like this program. I liked it when Marlon was doing it. I'm interested in helping people who've served their time, pay their dues, and coming back into the workforce. I know some people who have a really hard time doing that, and I love that we're helping.
All right, thank you, Ray. Yes, I'm not sure on the term, but to the council, they're usually a number of years, anywhere from 2 to 4 years for these appointments. And so, yeah, I'm not sure what's remaining on this particular appointment, but thank you. All right, there is a motion, or go ahead, Jonas.
She'll just do that. We'd work.
All right, there's a motion by Larry, seconded by Lisa. Again, for supporting the applicant of Jonas Hill to the governor for appointment on the entry, where is that? Council on Offender Reentry. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. Moving on to item I, which is scheduled for 2 o'clock, so we'll move on to item J, which was the add-on memo to withhold pay for Councilman Marlon Skendor. Lisa? Or Jenny made the motion?
Second.
Second by Lisa. Lisa, discussion?
Thank you. Just noting, this memorandum is for pay periods ending 17th and 24th of January, yes. I also will do my for the record statement. I'll just do that right here. As noted in the memorandum, including in the item today, Councilman Skendor has continued his unexcused absence, which began on Monday, October 13th, 2025 through today, with the exceptions of 3 weeks in December, the 13th, the 20th, and the 27th. As an elected official in accordance with our oaths of office, it's the Business Committee's responsibility to act in the best interest of our tribal members and nation. The Business Committee has taken action to uphold our responsibilities by adopting BC Resolution 102225C, which withholds pay when Councilman Skendor is unexcused. I know that everyone can understand that situations arise in our lives where we need time to get back on track. However, in this situation, there has been a pattern of non-communication since October 13th. I encourage Councilman Marlon Skinador to take care of his responsibilities in both his personal life and his oath of office to the community and to the nation. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Lisa, for your statement for the record. Any other comments from the committee? Seeing none, we'll go to community member Nancy Barton. You have 5 minutes. Thank you.
I can't imagine how frustrating all of this has been, and I sure do appreciate the business committee finally taking the action that they need to address this issue. You know, this isn't the first business committee where stuff like this has happened. You know, people disappear, they come back. My question, I guess, and concern is, what if he comes walking in the door tomorrow? Then do you put him back on payroll? And then if he's only here for 2 days, then and walks back out and is a no call, no show, how are you monitoring what he gets, when he gets paid and when he doesn't? So I'm concerned about that. You know, what if he decides, you know, in February, oh, I'm all gung-ho, I'm all good, I'm gonna come back, and then you put him back on payroll? Is that correct?
Lisa?
Nancy, the resolution that we adopted in October outlines that if there's a failure to report to work or a failure to submit leave paperwork, that payroll is withheld. So for those 3 weeks in December, Councilman Skinador returned to work, and so he received payroll for those 3 weeks because he was reporting to work.
So that answers my question then. If he comes walking back in the door and, you know, then you continue to pay him until his term is over. Is that correct?
There's a limited actions that the business committee can do. These are elected officials. So again, the removal law is an option. At this point, there is no other options that we have as a body. There was a sanctions and penalties proposal that was not approved at General Tribal Council that could have possibly provided another avenue, but that was turned down. So at this point, the business committee is doing the best they can, working within the parameters that we have within GTC directives, constitution, position descriptions.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other discussion? Seeing none, we'll vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. Operational reports we took care of. That brings us to General Tribal Council. Item A, accept the budget contingency plan package and approve rollout. Relinda is the sponsor. Jonas made a motion to accept. Motion by Jonas, seconded by Jenny. Discussion?
I would just ask if, oh, sorry, you didn't call on me. I would just ask if Linda could just provide a brief highlights, because I know this is something that you guys have been working on. We asked for an improvement to the prior contingency plan that really wasn't a plan, so I'm thankful for all the work that you guys have done on it, but you could just provide some quick highlights.
Sure. First of all, I'd like to thank Ray, Melissa, Michelle, Kelly, and the cross-functional team for all the work that they did to create the budget contingency plan. So the budget contingency plan, the first document establishes a common purpose and definition, as well as identifies the risk levels which follow the emergency management plan. OS and DACN are the levels 3 and 2 are the levels that are under the business unit's control. And then USCA, level 1, that is when we are at critical situation, and those decisions are made by the business committee with treasurer and CFO guidance. There's an SOP that has been created, and then a template for the for everyone to follow to put together their budget contingency plans with the level of reductions at the 2 different levels and a dollar amount associated with those levels, which will allow us to compare the actual performance of the, when we go, if we should have to go into it, we should have some numbers to compare to. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Rolinda. Lisa?
And then with the rollout, I'm assuming there's going to be direction to business units to complete the template.
Correct.
And then do you foresee a need to have some business committee support in the communication piece of that, whether that be a cover memo? I know we've provided that in the past.
Yes, that is covered in the communication plan in the purpose document.
All right, thank you.
All right, any other questions, comments from the committee? All right, seeing none, we'll go to community member Nancy Barton. You have 5 minutes, thank you.
Okay, the budget and the numbers, that's the last thing on, that I'm going to attempt to, I guess, understand all of the processes that go with it. But what I do know is that the directive goes to the business units and they compile whatever, but what about us? And so at the end of the day, right before the budget's getting ready to get approved, then all of a sudden we have these community meetings. And what?
I'm going to steal 15 seconds from you in that the item on the agenda today has nothing to do with the development of an annual budget. This has to do with a budget contingency. In the event there is a national crisis, such as a nationwide pandemic, and we needed to take action to adjust our budgets to respond to the closure of the casino or something like that, that's what this is for.
Oh, okay. I was just concerned.
Not budget development.
GTC is always last and then, everybody decides what we're gonna get at GWA and what the programs and everybody gets. And then you call us all in at the 13th hour and we were not allowed input because people in the audience were negative. They were talking about the frustration of paying people salaries every week and not showing up to work, and those kinds of issues at these community meetings. So I want to know, when the process comes, how do we get a say ahead of time before the business units, because we count.
All right, thank you, Nancy. Larry?
Yeah, it's not on topic, Nancy, but indulge me the ability to understand and respond. When you say the members are last, we have to extricate the mandates first. That was directive by the hand of GTC by majority. Then it's payroll in order to enable service delivery. The members have given us that direction. We've followed it. There's not an inordinate amount of resources for purpose of discretion, but those budget meetings we do take very seriously with an active listening process in order to assess resource allocation for those unmet needs. So we don't defer those to the last. We allocate, again, prerogative of the members first. And of course, our important employees, there are obligations that we also allocate. So the discretionary dollars is finite, and we try to adapt as best we can to meet those unmet needs. But there's not an inordinate amount of money, certainly, and in a federal budgeting cycle where we're seeing the preponderance of federal grant dollars decline, that gets to be increasingly difficult, and certainly in an environment where inflation's impacting our fiscal resources. So, but we always encourage community members to come to the community budget meetings. They are productive, good or bad. We're welcoming the opinion. We want to hear everybody's voice. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Larry. Rolinda?
The budget timeline and considerations resolution comes to the business committee normally the end of February. I'm looking at the draft resolution. We always include the kickoff meeting for the organization, and then there are community input sessions shortly after that. They are not well attended, and oftentimes they input that is provided at those community input sessions are not actionable items that the business units can incorporate within their budgets. However, we do continue to try to figure out a way to make those productive conversation. We encourage the input, and we will continue to work to make it more effective and productive. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Rolanda. All right, there is a motion to accept the budget contingency plan package, and I don't know, Jonas, to also include approve the rollout.
Yes.
All right, Jenny concur. All right, just make sure the language of the motion is clear. All right, any other discussion? See none, will vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. Item B was the add-on to cancel the March 9th tentatively scheduled General Tribal Council meeting. Motion by Lisa, second by Jenny. Discussion.
Just noting this was the meeting that was tentatively scheduled to address petition 202503 that has been denied at the last meeting, and there's no other agenda items to be placed on that agenda, and the deadline to submit to Big Bear Media has passed, so.
All right, thank you. Any other discussion? Seeing none, will vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. Moving on to item C, requesting a special GTC meeting to consider the budget.
Mr. Chairman?
Lisa?
In early December, we tried to secure dates for the budget meeting. However, there was only one date in September, so we held that as along with a couple dates in mid-October, consulting with the Treasurer's Office and Finance. They asked for earlier dates in August, so those were provided. Confirming with that team, Monday, August 24th was the preferred date. That date has been placed on hold. We need action in order to finalize any contracting. So with that, I'll make a motion to schedule a special General Tribal Council meeting on Monday, August 24th at 6 p.m. to address the FY27 budget.
Motion by Lisa, second by Jonas. Any further discussion? Seeing none from the committee, we'll go to committee member Nancy Barton. You have 5 minutes. Thank you.
Okay, I just have a question regarding, and it does have to do with General Tribal Council, and I talked about this once before, that after your meetings, you have what's called a debriefing. And, you know, I know that, you know, administration and all the entities that work there all get together and bunch up, but I think it's important that people who attend those meetings have an input. I have some things that need to be addressed, and I'd like to know when those meetings are, where they are, and I'd like to know that I can attend those, because there's some issues going on at those meetings that we need to tend to. And I just talked to Barnum trying to find out who security answers to. And if you work there and you're not sure, then I don't know where to go. You know, do I go to the casino? Do I go to the cops? Do I go to Joel Maxim? I'm not sure. That's one issue, but there are many. So I'm asking about the debriefing after GTC. When are they? Who can attend? Where are they? And are they a consistent meeting where they're scheduled and people can come there and voice their concerns?
All right, thank you, Nancy, for your questions. And basically, they are not public meetings. They're administrative debrief. If you have questions, comments, or concerns, you can raise it to any one of the committee members at any time that you feel comfortable for them to voice that during that meeting. Often, that's how a lot of stuff gets raised at these meetings, is someone came to me and said several times, the checkout process, people aren't following the wristband rule, blah, blah, blah. Can you do something about it? And so every time we try to address how best to do that and go forward. And one meeting, he reached out again and said, well, this meeting went really, the exit went really good, so thank you. So, you know, it's really that feedback to us as the business committee about how those meetings function, and also the reporting for security was recently changed with the adoption of a recent law earlier this fall that puts the reporting structure to OPD for security.
Oh, okay, thank you for that
It's
clarification.
the Public Safety Commission, is that what it's called? Jameson?
Public Safety and Security Commission.
Public Safety and Security Commission,
Which is under the police department?
over the police department.
They
Over
report,
the
the police department reports there,
Okay.
the chief of police.
And then just one last comment, you know, I tried to deal with some issues that went on there, you know, regarding our elders, of course. I'm real protective of them, especially at those meetings. And what I found out was, after I reported what went on at the first meeting, the second meeting, I was targeted and bullied, and I don't appreciate it. And so I'll be talking to, I don't know, somebody, but thank you.
To clarify, Nancy, the chief of police and the security director both report to the chair of the Public Safety and Security Commission.
All right, thank you. Any other discussion? Seeing none, we'll vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. All right, budget meeting is set for August 24th. All right, I believe that concludes the open session portion of the agenda. We have to take executive session actions.
Can we recess until 1:30?
We, go ahead, someone else. I can't talk.
So it's just taking the executive session actions, which takes less than 5 minutes, and then we'll recess till 2 o'clock for the presentation for the economic impact study. Well, we do have 5. Yeah, 2 o'clock.
If you need to be
Yeah, if you
excused,
need to be
Jonas, we have
excused, we got
quorum.
quorum.
Mr. Chairman,
Lisa?
can I make a motion on executive session A1?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to accept the Intergovernmental Affairs and Self-Governance January 2026 report, to approve the intergovernmental agreement. Oh, that's not right. It is not the right name, but I will adjust that in the actual written motion, but it's being referred to as the intergovernmental agreement with the Outagamie County Drainage Board, file number 20250580, to approve the appointment of Eric McLester to the Wisconsin Wild Rice Stewardship Council, and to support the Greater Green Bay Chamber Board of Directors appointment of Matt Kuntzman.
Motion by Lisa, second by Jameson. Discussion or no discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. Treasurer's report.
Motion to accept.
Motion by Lisa, seconded by Jenny. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. Item 3, Chief Counsel report.
I'll make a motion to accept the Chief Counsel report, to approve the attorney contract Hush Blackwell LLP, file number 20260089, and to accept the conflict of interest identified by Hush Blackwell LLP.
Motion by Lisa, second by Larry. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. Audit Committee, accept the November 18th regular Audit Committee meeting minutes. Motion by Jenny, second by Lisa. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. Item 2, accept the sports wagering compliance audit lift confidentiality requirement. Motion by Jenny, second by Lisa. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. Item 3, accept the CRAP rules of play compliance audit lift confidentiality requirement. Motion by Jenny, second by Lisa. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. Item 4, accept the Cage Vault kiosk year-end compliance audit and lift confidentiality requirement. Motion by Jenny, second by Lisa. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. Under new business, approve a limit waiver sovereign immunity for Spectrum Mid-America LLC, revised file number 2025-0977. Approval limit waiver.
Second.
Motion by Jenny to approve the limit waiver, second by Larry. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. Item number 2 is discuss proposed allocation of funds to Land Commission. Lisa?
Motion to accept the discussion as information.
Motion by Lisa, second by Jenny. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. Item 3, discuss proposed allocation of funds to the Financial Sovereignty Fund.
Motion to accept discussion as information.
Motion by Lisa, seconded by Jenny. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. I believe that concludes the items for executive session. We'll motion to recess till 2 p.m. Or actually, you don't need a motion, just recessing till 2 p.m.
Mr. Chairman,
Bonnie?
the last two items, are you moving the resolutions?
No,
No?
Bonnie, those are add-ons for open session. They've already been processed and approved.
Thank you.
Yep. Just encouraging everybody to come back at 2 p.m. for the economic impact presentation.